Okay, I think we're good. Can you see it, guys, the screen?
It's coming up, yes.
Megan and I decided to open a restaurant purely because we wanted to offer our own dining experience. We really wanted to build a rapport with each and every individual customer, making sure that they felt special. If that was portrayed through the food, an element of theatre at the table, or the way the floor staff make the customers feel welcome and special.
We knew that we both had the same thoughts and the same ideas on how our restaurant should run. Whenever you are passionate about something, to be able to do it your way, exactly the way you believe it should be done, is so rewarding.
Working together, opening a restaurant together, all the highs and lows of that as well has undoubtedly strengthened our relationship. We've been through so much already, and we've come out the other end.
The relationship between our front and back of house is a key contributing factor to the success that we've had.
It's a collaborative effort between not just the floor staff in the kitchen, but everyone involved in the day in, day out running of the restaurant.
Our front of house staff know how many hours our chefs work and how dedicated they are to what they do. There's no point in them doing that if we can't then deliver that beautiful food in a way that it deserves to be presented.
It's the floor staff that brings the customer back most of the time, and it's the passion and the skill in which it gets delivered to the table that can make the food feel special as well, and even taste better, I believe.
We're well aware of our customers' expectations, and if we communicate, mistakes don't occur, and then we're able to deliver the premium experience that we aim to deliver.
Expectations are a huge thing for restaurants, for any business, and we wanted to make sure that whatever people walking through that front door, whatever their expectations of Muse was, whether it be 6 years ago or today, we want to make sure that they're still wowed by that experience. We promote natural progression, and that really starts from the top and works its way down. All of the staff are included, whether it be our bookkeepers to our kitchen hand. Everyone is included in having a say in the restaurant, having a say in how it runs, having a say in the food.
We don't micromanage. We expect all of our staff to take ownership for what they do here. They all know that they are so important to us. We see them as family and they feel heard, and when people feel like that, then they thrive.
We promote for them to give their personality to the customers. They want to build their own unique rapport with that person, and they have their own personality. They're intelligent, they're food and wine savvy, they're passionate about their job, and that really helps engaging with the customers.
At the end of the day, they're wonderful friends. They socialise outside of work. They know everything that's going on in each other's life, and they do have so much respect for each other. And when you work with a team like we have, it makes you want to be better. It makes you want to be part of it.
We work together for the one goal, to be here for a long time and to grow together.
I think restaurant managers, I think restaurant owners should really be focusing highly on what they can do to keep people in the industry.
That was good.
That was such a great message, isn't it? And a beautiful restaurant in Australia. But you know, that is the concept, how the industry is changing for good. No more bullying, no more mistreated, you know, it's just a team, it's work, it's just understanding the basic of what management should be. And that's why we're here, that's why you're here in the school, and that's why we try to deliver it to you and teach you, you know, all these things that are so important when you get into the restaurant business. And let me get back again. are. So these things, these basic things, these basic concepts that we put it on the table, you should attesorate, guys, because these are great tools that let you, not only as an employee, but also if you become an entrepreneur, to really understand what the business is and what it should be, and how you can change the perspective, and how can you leadership in these changes that the industry are needing right now. Let me tell you, I come from an area where the restaurants were kind of a very stressful place to work, where there was a lot of screaming. It was kind of a hell kitchen, isn't it? Where there was a lot of demanding, and there was, very little communication. It was just very bad. And because of that stress and many things, there was a lot of problems in the kitchen. I really recommend you guys go ahead and read the book called Kitchen Confidential, right, by Anthony Bourdain. If you like to read it, you will see how the kitchens used to be, and still today there's some of that are like that,
It is a great book. It is a great book. Probably the very first book I bought for myself. I kept it, and I still read it.
Yes, so that's one. And if you like the organic and how how the country is moving out, I will introduce you to a book called Omnivorous Dilemma.
Can you say it again?
Omnivorous Dilemma.
I'm gonna look that up.
Omnivorous Dilemma, Chef. And
okay, I'm gonna look that up.
And that's an amazing book that talks about all the changes, how the industry is treating the food, and how the industry should change. So that's another thing that is very interesting to read, guys. And of course, today we're gonna keep talking about motivation. So, as we talked yesterday, motivation, it's kind of an inside enthusiasm, isn't it? It's something that it's a drive that comes from inside. It's kind of a soul drive, to make you move, to do a lot of activities with happiness and joy. That will be motivation, isn't it? And motivation also is when these internal thoughts that should go and move you to start taking actions on something, isn't it? You can be motivated in many ways, isn't it? In your personal life, it says, okay, I saw this person, I'm overweight and I want to lose weight. So I'm just trying to get to know how do I get that drive that motivates me to lose weight and that kind of things. But you need to have that drive, isn't it? To read, to understand how can I get better as a person? How can I change my life for good? And that will motivate it to you if you find the right drive and hit that button that motivates you to do things. It can be just biological, intellectual, social things, emotional, anything can be moved with these drives, isn't it? So motivation is kind of a complex thing, isn't it, that influences the life of every person. And it could be external motivation, something from outside is moving you, isn't it? Or it can be internal motivation. It's a decision that you take because you've been in this. It's a work in progress on your life. So if you start thinking on that, and you have to establish a task force, isn't it? A group of people that is going to work in the industry with you. How can you come? And every person has different motivations because every person is different, isn't it? So you have all these different people that are coming here to work, and at some point you need them to tune and just one thing, isn't it? You need them to be tuned on the business that you're working, because they're gonna that maybe they're gonna pass on working on that, so they're gonna stay on the place maybe more hours than what they will stay in their own homes. So a lot of the time of their lives they're going to spend it over there, and if they are not motivated, the opposite is disengaged, isn't it? It's going to be a nightmare. And if you have an apple that is rotten, what's going to happen is going to be contagious, and then another and another and another. So you have to be sure that we create these external drives that motivate the individuals to do things, and at the same time you need to create a cultures that move that internal clicks on the people that motivated from inside to get better as a person. So that means create a whole atmosphere where people feel happy to work over there. So it's a lot to think, don't you think?
Yes, it is a lot.
It's a lot to, if you start thinking in a company and says, how can I do that? And every person is a whole universe, and I want to do this. And I want any decisions that I'm going to take at the restaurant, it's going to impact the life of these persons. If you're a responsible manager, you start thinking like that. You're not thinking in yourself, isn't it? You start thinking what's going to happen with the people that they're working with you, and how can you change the life of that person's. So you want morale, isn't it? You want a sense of community. You want a place that the people feel safe, don't you think? You want a place where the people think that they are growing as individuals, isn't it? They want to play that people think they are growing professionally. They want a place where people think that they were treating with respect, isn't it? You want a place where people think that they've been heard with their ideas and they'll help to grow. So you want a place that people think, oh, they have benefits, when I come here and I have benefits, they allowed me to live, they have a decent life, All these things, it's a huge responsibility for the people who are hiring in the workplace. And that means understanding, and then this mechanical act to get into a job and start hiring people without thinking, the impact that the company is going to have in people's life. That's what is caused that disengaging. What do you think, Chef?
For sure. For sure, you've got to, it is disengaging, and you've got to be very careful about that.
So, of course, there are hardworking people, but I have the philosophy, everybody's a hardworking person. Everybody's hardworking person, but me, I don't like to do the things that I don't know how to do it. I don't want to do it because I'm afraid that I'm going to fail. So how do I make other people to do things and be happy what they are doing?
Empower them.
Yeah. So you have to empower them. You give them these reasons to feel that they are learning, isn't it? So the process of getting to of this job, it should give the persons who are hired opportunity to change their lives. If they are seeing that, they will be engaged, isn't it? So yes. Because nobody wants to be stupid. Everybody wants success in life. Everybody wants a better life. Everybody wants opportunities in life. Who don't? So that idea, that we have, that's wrong idea sometimes that we have here in America, that, the workforce is, something that move the economy, but you don't give the importance of that workforce, and you have these people that are completely disengaged with the reality. As I told you before, like the CEOs on the 60s, they used to have at the beginning 25 times the salary of the regular person. On the 70s was 65 times the salary of the regular person. Today is 600 times the salary of the regular worker.
That's crazy.
So we're putting the horses, we're putting the cars in front of the horses.
Yep.
That's not how the economy works. And what we have right now is these problems that we have in America, isn't it? With these huge groups of populations that are completely setting apart. There's no opportunities. But hey, we create the opportunities. We have to create the opportunities. We have to think about that. So, and now they call that socialism. They say, no, that's socialism. No, that's not socialism. That's to be right. That's the right thing to do. So that's my opinion, guys. I don't like to. I'm not glad to get in politics, but I think that is my opinion about, motivation. How you keep the population motivated, guys. So how you can be happy to being a citizen of this country. It's the same thing about companies, isn't it, but on big scale. How you have the people that's engaged and motivated. And now you have a lot of young people. That's a big example, isn't it? They don't like politics. They are completely disengaged. They don't care, isn't it? But they think nothing's going to change, no matter who. Nothing is going to change. So we get to the point that we are completely disengaged on the country. So, and this is like a mirror of who we are. So we have to change the game, guys, and be sure that if we gotta go in a company, you have to give opportunities to everybody to grow as an individuals, not only as the owners making money. So it's a huge responsibility to hire someone. So there you are, guys. So there's a lot of things, isn't it? It should be, kind of a little bit motivation. It moves around, recognition, isn't it? It moves around. You feel great because you achieve something, isn't it? You feel good because you feel that you have responsibilities, that you have to share with others, you feel good because you have this satisfaction that the job is good, is done, and you're doing better because of the job is doing better because of you, and there is growing. So you know that there is growing. You are not static in one place. The thing is growing and you growing with that. So all these are huge parameters to help you to feel motivated in the workplace. So yeah, and another inside, you need to have a good culture. You need to have camaraderie inside. You need to have a teamwork where everybody interact in a very positive way, and they help each other, not only in the company but outside. So you have to challenge them and see, we have to get better every day, a little better, isn't it? And you have to deal with the diverse problems that are coming and teach everybody how to find the problems and find the solutions to the problems, isn't it? And make the people do that, not the leaders. The people has to learn to find the solutions to the problems that come into their own works. That's to rewarding themselves. So, but hey, let me tell you this. I was talking yesterday also about this. No matter the reason that you're working, and there's one reason that is very important also, isn't it? And it's the salary. You also need to pay, you need a paycheck that comes every month and helps you to pay your bills, isn't it? you need enough money to help you to pay your insurance and all these kind of things that you have normally, your housing, you know. You need to have enough money to pay the school of your children, the clothing, the food, you know, all these things that happen in everyday lives. And maybe, you know, if I have also extra to have some leisure, isn't it? So I can have some extra to have some leisure activities, go to the movies, you know, do things, traveling, that kind of things, you know, and and also keep some money to help me to retire on the future. All these things, it's a huge motivator, isn't it? And that is something that happened. Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you a personal history. You know, I work all my life since I graduated from high school. I never stopped working hard. So since 1974, I get into the workforce. So you can imagine the amount of years that we've been working that. But part of my life, I work so hard, so hard, so hard, and I try to save some money, save some money, save some money to retirement. So I put the money in the banks and things like that. And one day in the country that I was living, the economy completely crashed. Completely. 75% of the banks went to the trash.
Oh,
75%. And
wow.
and the only way that the government can sustain the economy is the government frees the money of all the country, of all the people. So whatever money you have, you don't have it anymore. It's freeze. And they freeze it for 1 year, one whole year. You cannot touch your money that is in the bank. Could you imagine that?
That's
And,
crazy.
and after 1 year, they change the currency and says we cannot work in the way we're going to change the currency. So now we're going to work with dollars. So the economy of my country, Ecuador, it's in dollars. So so what is the good thing about the government of Ecuador? He cannot print dollars, isn't it? So if they have no money, they have no money. In the past, you know, they have no money. They print money to the point that the money costs nothing. So when the year passed, the people says, okay, now that we return to the economy, the banks are open, but we are not going to return the money. We're gonna return the money that you have, but in these conditions, we are going to have. Basically, they given a sense of a dollar.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So what happened, you know, half of my retirement account I have over there, and when I return it, I discovered that I only have $14,000.
Oh,
So everybody is completely on the floor, isn't it? And what happened? Do we kill each other's? No, that was a huge motivation to start over, guys. And we start over, and everybody start over, and it was like a boom all over the country to start working and build it again and start building, you know, and we built again to the point that the economy completely recovered and people start getting happy again, and again we save money for retirements and all these things. But look at that, you know, it's an external things that motivate you to do things, and not necessarily it has to be a good thing that happened in your life to motivate you, isn't it? It can be a disaster, it can be a death in the family, something, isn't it? That obligates you to take sometimes the responsibility. I know people that I have a good friend of mine that when he was young, when he was 16, he lost his parents. And he has to take care of the responsibility of their 3 sisters. I mean, he was 16 years old and we are in high school. So he has to work, and they have a farm. So what he do is he left the school and he started working in the farm. And right now he's a very successful person, and he has this beautiful family and he's still the head of that family, but the circumstances motivate him to do better, do good things.
So circumstances make is a good motivator as well.
Yeah, external, external
Yes.
things.
Yes. Yes.
But remember, guys, we also work for money. At least that you are very wealthy, isn't it? And you just work for fun. You're so wealthy that you don't need the money and you just work for fun.
Now that
So
would be nice.
I think that very little people can say that, less than 1% of the population can say that. So maybe money is not the most significant motivator at the end, but is a big motivator in life, and it's a discussions, of all these, what are the benefits of working in a place, and we also try to find if I want to work in a place that give me benefits, that helps me in life and motivated people. Like as example in my country, guys, education and health is a right. I don't live in a socialist country. It's a right. So if you get sick, you have social benefits. You can go to the hospital. You don't pay for that. You pay every day for your salary. They take an 11% of your salary, and from that salary that they take it, you have enough money to pay education and health. There you are. So fair benefits also, it's a very important part of the motivation for workers, a living wage that helps you, put it in a good situation, take the stress out of your life, and also if you are doing well and you have well paid and you're happy, that's also help with the retention of the workers in the company. Otherwise, you're going to be suffering, and as soon as somebody offers you a little more pay, you will left, isn't it? Because you are so desperate to get a little more money. So that retention, if you will have that well-paid company that everybody is happy, retention is going to be bigger and bigger. Don't you think, Jeff?
For sure. And like I was, I think, saying yesterday, if, with, treating your employees correctly and motivating them, that will in turn make your employees stay longer because they feel valued in some sort of way, whatever value they decide, if it's financial, if it's emotional, if it's whatever value it is. So I completely agree. Your retention is, you're going to keep your employees a lot longer because of you're treating them the way that they want to be treated, with respect and with all those things kind of involved with it. So I completely agree with you, Chef.
Yes, but example, if somebody, if I have a company that don't offer me insurance, probably I will not work on that personally.
Yeah, I would not either.
So it will be, so benefits for me, it's a huge thing since I'm more than 65 years old. So benefits is a huge thing, isn't it? So insurance, health, dental, vision, disability, isn't it? Or life insurance as well. Paid time off, if you have vacation or sick days, they pay you. All those things are very important when you have to consider a job, isn't it? And also retirement plans, On retirement plans, on 401k, what happened is the company pays some and then the employees pay some. Somebody know how that works?
They did that for me.
Okay, can you explain us, Haley?
The company matches what percent you put into your 401k.
Yeah.
So if you put in like 3%, they'll put in 3%, or like mine only went up to 6%. So they would match that up to 6%, but I could go past it. So I could put 25 of my check in, or 25% of it, and they'll just put the 6%, or
Yes.
ever how high up they go, which
Yeah.
I saved up like 2,500 in a year
Oh, wow.
with only doing
awesome.
3% of my check, and I was paid bi-weekly.
That's awesome.
That's,
That's a
great.
great thing. And the same happened with insurance, isn't it? You pay some,
Yeah.
the company pays some. So the only thing with the insurance in the United States of America is the insurance was designed in a way that the healthy people paid for the people
Sick.
who were sick, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have more healthy people and few people that are sick, so the system works, all that money comes together. Now is the opposite. You have a huge amount of population sick that is more than 50%. So the majority population is sick. So what happened is the money that everybody's putting over there is not enough to cover the people who are sick. So that has to change. So we have to find a way to change the system in a way that helps more and don't put it in risk right now. Health benefits are in risk right now for people who are paying that.
For sure.
You think that your health benefits are in risk, Jeff?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, just because of how many, because the cost is going up, everything's
Yeah.
going up, and it's all because of, just all we're paying for all the sick people.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you're paying for me because
I've
got
something.
leukemia, so I guess that's what it is.
So, but you're not the only one, Jeff.
Yeah.
We have 50% of the population suffer from diabetes, cardiovascular disease, or obesity. So that's a disease. So we have problems all over,
Yep.
So that is, part of that, we get sick, we suffer accidents, we have all kind of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yeah. So,
For sure.
like last year, I was walking in the street and I fell.
Oh.
And I broke my 4 fingers of my right hand, and I'm a right side person, and that was painful to recover and have no hand to work. That was very sad.
Yeah,
So,
the pictures were crazy.
yeah. So we're talking about, Jeff, what inspired motivation. Do we have something? Somebody say something on the chat, Jeff?
Yeah, but it was about the money.
Okay.
We've kind of passed that.
Okay. So we know things. Leadership inspire people, isn't it? Transparency and regular communication on both sides are big factors to make the people who work feel better, isn't it? What Jeff has says, treating people with respect, that's something that also inspire and motivate people. Involving employees in the decisions on the daily things of the work, that's also inspires, Another thing that is important is minimize the rules and policies. So you minimize the rules, you trust in the work of the people instead of having rules and rules and rules that people think that there's always somebody blower on their necks, and that's not very good. That don't make it feel good. Provide employee recognition, the employee of the month and all these things, and patting on their backs and give them, bonuses and the people who are working better, giving them better opportunities to grow in the company. Like, if you're doing so well, I move it to the next position and next position. So you can see that you're growing professionally inside of the company and not just stay in one position doing the same thing the rest of your life. Feedback and coaching. So there you are. And also when you are, there's somebody who inspired you, but when you get out and you commit some mistakes, they fix you and says, hey, come on, this is the way to do it, and they fix you and help you and correct and give a little coaching. So that's are the good leaders, the ones who do that instead of just punish you and give you some kind of thing, that is going to be like bad punishing. You're going to pay for this. You have to recognize that we are humans, and humans commit mistakes, and we commit mistakes because there's no enough motivation. They need more coaching, or there's not enough information. So sometimes it's not the employee that caused that because he wants to destroy or sabotage. It's the system that is taking the employee to do that. So it's something that you have to think about. It is a huge responsibility to have people working with you. You have to train them. You have to let them know what to do. There's a leadership is going to put everybody on the track. Another thing, that make motivation. Okay, I'm going to pay a little more than what everybody is paying. So there you are. If your benefits are a little upper with the regular competition, that's okay, isn't it? People are going to feel pride, to work with you because people are going to feel definitely. Another thing is when people know what to do and what are the goals that they pursue, and everybody is working on that, and you can measure and people see how the improvement is coming, that's a big motivation because they know what can do they better to improve every day better and better and better. So clear expectations are very, very important on the way to inspire and motivate people. So the opportunity for growth and develop is motivation, and it includes, guys, you need to be sure that you train and educate the persons for the positions. That's a good thing. You give them a situation where they see the company where they're working as a career path, not just a stationary path. They stay and stay. They move, they grow. Another thing is they come to be part of a team. So culture, isn't it? You want them to be sure that you include them in something they're going to be part of. And another thing is there is going to be a program that should know that if you get to that goal, you can move to the next step, and you have to train the one that is behind, and you're going to help the company to have a person who's going to occupy the job that you're using, and you keep moving in the company. So all those things are happening. Cross-training. So not only that we teach them to do things, but we teach them to train other people. And when you learn that, you can come with your ideas, and you can come with your own support to the workforce that you're working, to the team, and help the team to get better in many ways. Another thing that is amazing is field trips, isn't it? You need to see that. As example, if you work in the restaurant industry, I used to get my cooks and people and encourage them and invite them sometimes to go and eat in other places so they can see what other people are doing. Because if you lose the perspective of what's going on, you don't know what are the goals, isn't it? You need to be on point. You need to be on the marketplace all the time to know what's going on. Sometimes in the restaurant business, not everybody has money to go and pay and do all this. This is what we call field trips, isn't it, Chef?
That is so correct.
And also field trips to go and not only visit other restaurants, but visit the farms. Go and visit the farms, get contacts with the providers, be sure that you go and see where the fish is coming from, and all this kind of interactions that we have in the company that is not only doing by the managers, but with the rest of the people who are doing that in these field trips. So yeah, it's amazing to do that. And if you all start doing that, you have a clean, transparent way to do it, and that's a huge motivation. So the number one motivation, guys, for me is a great leadership, isn't it? You need a person who is like a guidance, who put the lines of where are we going to be, where this company is going to go, and sell the idea to the rest so everybody understand and everybody's working that. When encourage others to find solutions to their own problems, isn't it? A person who has a vision of the future, a person who knows what a teamwork means and encourage the work of the whole team, creating a culture, a person that helps to move in the right direction, the company, isn't it? A person who have a strategy, a person who know how it's going to happen, how it's going to do with a framework, with a time framing, isn't it? And a person who not only don't do that, but know how to communicate with others, help to understand them, is a server, is a person to help others to develop their own goals. So that is something that our leadership do, guys, and that's a huge motivator. Guys, you have to learn how to become a leadership because we need more of you guys on that. So let's go to the bad part of this. How do organizations destroy motivation? So because it's easy to destroy motivation, it's hard to motivate people. It's easy to destroy motivation on people. So first one, micromanaging. We talked a little bit yesterday about that. So employees, guys, are adult peoples with their own lives, isn't it? They largely manage family. They have their own inventions. They have to take care of their own day-to-day livings, And if they do that, they are capable to do everything if they understand the job. So so for one side, guys, it's kind of silly to think that you have to carry them as a children's instead of an adult, isn't it? It's same here. If I'm on the side every day trying to take care and say, hey, are you looking at me? Are you watching me? Hey, are you watching me? Stop, take the list again. What do I say? What do I say at that moment? Let's see, did you understand? Come on, you're gonna be, this guy's crazy, it's like, I'm gonna blow in your neck. You're already adults. I treat like adults, I'm supposed that you're here because you want to learn. That's my supposition, and I'm not going to change that. And I think that if you don't want to do it, you have your own reasons for that. But I will try to keep engaged to the class. So that's what I'm trying to do that. So don't treat people like children. That's one, isn't it? Big no, micromanaging. Second thing, guys, you start making rules become one or two persons has bad behaviors. And because that's one or two persons, you start putting rules for the rest of the persons. That's very common in the organization, don't you think, Chief?
For sure, yeah.
So and then you start rules and rules and rules, and not the more policy because that's what happened, and then more and more. And then people start thinking that here, nobody trusted nobody here. It's like a bad feeling that it's so many rules and no trust. So if you are buried in tons of policies and procedures, then it's like you're a tight into those those shirts that they given to the mental illness in the past that they tie them, Jeff. It's like that, isn't it?
Oh, straight jacket?
Yes, like straight jacket, just like that, you know.
Okay.
There you
Yes.
are. What I want to do is there's no way that you can do nothing, you know, but everything is so
That's
tight.
correct.
So that's strong motivation. Then another thing is the negative. So a company that is looking only the negative part of the company, instead of being looking for the positive areas, they are trying all the time is looking for the negativities, isn't it? So focusing on the mistake and errors of the people. So why you do this? Why you do that? Why you do this? This is not okay. Come on, guys. If you start getting like that, first, something is wrong on the company, isn't it? Something is wrong on the leadership, very, very wrong, isn't it?
For sure.
And if somebody is not complying with the standards of the company, that person shouldn't be working in the company. If that person received training and everything and still do have bad behavior, shouldn't be working in the company in the first place. So you cannot throw the people, like put it on an apron, throw it there, work, and the people start making mistake, and you start to know, hey, you shouldn't do that, and you look like a Gordon Ramsay behind the people, you know. You cannot do that if the person, they don't know what to do. So the mistakes are okay because we are humans. So we have to put attention on that. And when mistakes are happened, we have to say why it's happened, this mistake. And instead of pointing our fingers on the heads of people, we should point the fingers on the problem and have to fix it, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you start doing that, you know, you destroy motivation. You have to have open ears to initiatives. That's another thing, isn't it? So people come and says, hey, I have this idea. And you say, yeah, okay. You don't put ears to people who come with ideas. That's very bad, you know, because everything that we do is because the ideas that come into ourselves or from others. So you should be very aware of that. So ideas has to be very welcoming. I know that not all the time all the ideas are going to be the best ideas, because it's a growing process for people, but you cannot say, yeah, you have to treat it. You really have to respect people who come with ideas, you know, open, let it talk and discuss, you know, and if this ideas has merit, you can adopt ideas and give the credit to the person who has given ideas. If they not, you know, you very gentle, you know, understand that this receive the ideas, don't make him feel that you are not hearing, you know, to the person. See, the idea is not going to help. You should tell them, you know, why you are not doing that. Don't make the person feel like it's rejected. So everybody deserves consideration for the ideas and feedbacks, isn't it? So open doors, this should be a big policy on the companies. Everybody should be free to talk with no afraid of something is going to happen. Another big no-no is, you know, start empower people who are really not empowered. Don't you think, Jeff?
Yes. Sorry, I was typing in the chat. Yes, for sure. You need to, you know, just motivating and empowering people.
But don't empower people that are not empowered.
Yeah. No, but you have to, or you empower people, but you don't want to have that, what I call the rent-a-cop
Yes.
kind of a thing of that the rent-a-cop or the police officer being rented, right? You know, he or she might have a chip on their shoulder or feel empowered to do something when they are not, they should not really be empowered to do certain things. So you've just got to be very careful on who you empower and who you don't.
That's a good example. You don't want to be the power to somebody that feels that they're gonna feel like Supermans and then start, you know, put an extra power on everybody and make the rest of the people feel miserable. So no, that's a big no. You want to be sure that the person to you give power know how to get that responsibility, and you helping that person to be sure that they get into the right path. So, you know, responsibility is power, my friends. Don't fool the person, don't fool the people. Another big thing, guys, in the companies is when you violated the confidentiality that you have with the persons. Hey, this is very bad. Whatever information that you have from the people that works with you, that information had to be kept and confident. Isn't that, Chef?
For sure.
Confidentiality is a big thing. You cannot share that anywhere.
Gosh, and that can, you've got to really be careful, and you know, just make sure you don't tell people any of that information or share any information like that, for sure.
Like here, guys, in the school, as example, if somebody called me to the phone and says, "Can you please tell me what's the phone of Christopher?" Cannot tell. I cannot say, yeah, sure, I'm gonna give. No.
That's a FERPA violation. FERPA violation. I mean, you cannot give out any personal information of other people, or I can't. Let's say you told me you were, like, for example, like me, I have leukemia, and maybe, you know, I didn't want everybody to know that. I told my boss, but maybe my boss had told that to everybody, right? So you've just got to be very careful on what kind of confidence, you've got to not spread any information about your employees, for sure.
Yes, that's something that is really very bad. And
and Chef, just wanted to let you know, we have a couple of people are getting kicked off, but we have had everybody on today. Everybody's in attendance.
That's amazing. Let me tell you guys.
Except one, he just left because of the hurricane. He was going to go pack up and leave. So we had everybody at one point or another in class. So all 34. That's
amazing, guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that, guys. We really appreciate that. So, guys, another thing is when you have to talk to somebody and make review or make feedbacks to somebody, you know, or measure an aspect of the work of somebody, don't measure things that the employee cannot control, that has no control. It will destroy the motivation. You should, you know, you should review or talk to a person about their job concrete with things that are related with that person's responsibility, not things that doesn't belong to him. It makes sense?
For sure.
Like, you know, there's a problem in the inventories, and you go to the kitchen and go and, this is a problem, and blah, 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 blah. And people are looking like, what the hell is this guy's doing? You have nothing to do with this. You know, go and talk to the people of the inventories. We talk to the people out there. So, very, very important, guys.
For sure. You can't talk, you don't want to talk to people about inventory. You don't want to complain. You don't want to, that has no control over it. So you're bad mouthing other employees, and you don't want to bad mouth other employees in front of your employees, right? Because if they see you bad mouthing somebody in front of them, they're going to think, okay, what do they do when I'm not around? Are they going to be bad mouthing me? So making sure that you don't talk trash or degrade or belittle or talk about how their performance is to other employees that are not your superior or above you or in your position.
So let me tell you guys, like there is a mistake committed in the kitchen for somebody, isn't it? And you go to the whole kitchen and scream at them and really, pick against everybody who is in the line and really get against all these people. So there's gonna be a lot of people that looking at you and then, why this guy come against me? I did nothing, isn't it? So you want to be sure that you talk to the right person. And the case that a mistake is to it, isn't it? You don't go to the wrong person to blame for the mistake. So there is uncontrollable things also that can affect the motivation, isn't it? What do you think, guys?
Can you say that one more time?
There's also external things, that are uncontrollable circumstances that affect your performance on the job.
Definitely. People have lives outside of just the work that they do.
Isn't it? Like right now, there's a lot of people that are in stress, isn't it? A lot of stress because of the pandemic, yes or not?
Yes.
Maybe they lost their jobs. Maybe they lost they can work. They have children. They don't know where to put the children in their head. They don't have healthcare, so they care. That put a lot of stress, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's out of the control of the person, but they put a lot of stress. So that person is not going to be highly motivated because he has so many problems around that. So this is kind of a video that's going to relax a little bit. Because, what can you do in the circumstances that are out of control, but you can have a good attitude about it? Yes. There you are. Okay. Tell me if you see the screen.
Yes, chef.
Okay. So guys, sometimes circumstances are out of our control, isn't it? But what's matter is the attitude that we have on that circumstances that happen. So, and that really is remarkable. And I want to put this example of this one.
Message. Your attitude and your actions are your message. I was thinking yesterday before coming here, I said, I want my presentation to be a gift for this group. If you walk out of here a little inspired, if you laughed a little bit, if you got a good idea, you got the gift. Our attitude is our message. It becomes our legacy. It's what we give our customers, our clients, I use that word, but your patients, the people that you're serving. It's a gift. Your attitude is your message. It's your brand. It's your logo. It's your culture. It's what you want it to be. It's what people know about you and what they'll remember about you. Here's what people will remember about me. Many years ago, this guy saw me at a conference and he said, "Hey, we'd like to have you come speak to our company. But the thing is they only hire really famous people, like best-selling, real best-selling, you know, not at my mom's garage sale, but they hire really well-known people. And I have no desire to be famous at all. To me, success is how much time I get with my family and being able to barbecue without burning the house down. If you know me, that's all it is." And so I was all excited. And there are days that we want to put our best foot forward. And even on those days that we put our best foot forward, we're going to stumble. Having a positive attitude doesn't stop the junk from happening. It just equips you to handle it better, gives you the mental stamina, clarity, and creativity to deal with it and to move on and to persevere. And so anyways, they hired me and I wanted to make a good impression. So I went to Walmart and I purchased the most expensive luggage they sell at Walmart. And I packed it for this trip. And those luggage guys who put the luggage on the airplane, they can be very aggressive people. And so they threw the luggage on the plane and the zipper on the luggage broke and everything fell out. And so they tried to reassemble it, but they reassembled it with a good sense of humor. Here's what they did. They put the top of the suitcase in first, they put my clothes in second, and they took 4 pairs of Fruit of the Loom underwear, opened them up, laid them out, and took clear tape and taped it out. You know what the kicker is? I only packed 3 pair of underwear. I don't know who the 3rd pair or that 4th pair belonged to. I think they got out of Lost and Found. But anyways, I'm trying to make a good impression for this organization that hires the best of the best. And so I get to where I'm going. I meet Tom, who's the CEO of this company. He likes to meet his speakers and stuff before the event. And we're at the baggage claim waiting for my luggage. I had no idea. Life is all about change. I hear this eruption of laughter and I'm attracted to laughter. And so I asked somebody, I said, "Hey, what's going on over there?" This guy turned, "Somebody packed their underwear on the outside of their luggage." Well, I got to see this. So we're watching the camera. I can see it at a distance. It's a double carousel, and we see it at a distance. We're both laughing. Tom's like, "Who does that?" And I chime in. I'm like, "Oh, somebody's clearly not right." And it was such a surreal moment. Here it comes. It's coming around. I was like, "Oh, no." Have you ever had a day like that? You got to put your best foot forward and you just stumble. Is that making a good impression? No. I was so embarrassed I didn't know what to do. I pulled Tom aside and very quietly, to minimize the embarrassment factor, I said, "That was my luggage." Tom looks at me, he's like, "Did you do that on purpose?" Part of my thing. I didn't know what to say. And the whole time it's going around, I'm trying to justify to Tom that 4th pair of underwear is not mine. Because it was different. It was so different. So Tom said, "Sam, you want me to grab it?" I said, No, let's wait for people to leave. I kid you not, nobody is leaving. everybody wants to see the underwear packer. I would. And finally it goes around 8, 9, 10 times. And finally I was like, Tom's like, Sam, we got to go. I was like, oh man. Our attitude is always being put to the test. Life is filled with changes, challenges, the unexpected, negative people, but how we interpret change is everything. I reached down, I grabbed it, I said, it's mine. And people started laughing, clapping, and pointing. It was very humbling. And now I have to lift the handle and walk to the airport. That was the worst. We get out to the van and we're standing outside and we put it in the back of the van and we're just looking at it. It's so weird. And I really thought Tom was going to drive me back around and be like, you know, we're going to let you go home and start your life over again. Because this is inappropriate and unprofessional. Tom is a guy who believes in positivity. He believes in his people. He believes that when you treat them valuable and you treat them with, that they'll make a difference, that they will. And Tom was about to share some of that with me. What a great leader. Leaders do that. He looked at me and he said, Sam, I got to tell you, in 20 years of hiring the best speakers on the planet, he says, the reason we hire the best is because I want my people to have the best because I believe they're the best. But he said, today, you gave me the best speech I've ever seen in 20 years. I was like, do explain. And he said, the way you handled that, you didn't throw a temper, you didn't freak out, you weren't negative about it. He says, how you handled that was everything. He says, speakers get up and they deliver their message through the microphone and their PowerPoint. He says, that's great and all, and they're wonderful. But to actually see somebody live their message, he says, that is what it's about, and that's what I love. And he says, the way you lived your message today was awesome. He says, you and your weird underwear can come back anytime. And so I started talking to people, and we found 5 primary things about the topic of attitude that these companies understand.
So there you are, guys. A little to
That was good.
put in consideration. Sometimes, you know, life's getting in the middle, and it's all about our attitude. It's all about how do we handle those things that happen to us. So, yes. So organization staff motivations also, when they start putting intangible goals and penalize employees to not get it there. So that's a lot of things, you know, like you have a CEO on the top that says, I want to get there and there and there, you know, and push everybody to go to something that is impossible to do it. And everybody works so hard and they don't get it. And then they are penalized. And it's like, what the hell is happening here, isn't it? Everybody's putting their best and it's just not get it because their goals are, and it's just impossible to get to that point. So that's a lack of communication in a direction that one person thinks that that's the direction that the company has to go and everybody has to follow, and they push everybody to do it, to take the goals that are completely out of the reality. So that is a big no-no, guys. So it's when we talk about organization, and we have to make we have to make forecasts. We have to predict what's going to happen on the future, isn't it? Especially in restaurants. What's going to happen next month? How can I be prepared for that? And what are we going to do, or what are we going to do today to get that much work? And a person can come, we don't need that much people. I handle this with this amount of people, and sometimes it's not, isn't it, Chef? It's
yes.
everybody is it's completely burned out, and still people are not coming, and it's just because one person thinks that they can cut the number of people working, and it's just a mess. So that kind of things, that they're not gonna deliver, and it's gonna be bad because that's the truth. And then they penalize them because they are not. They go and they say, you shouldn't do that. This is a job, and everybody's doing. Man, the guys are working their butt, and it's too much work.
Yep.
That's happened very, very, very. It's a very common mistake. There
Yes,
you
it
are.
is.
So for some reason, I have. Let me get. There you are, guys. So I think. So motivation, isn't it? Teach, inspire, motivate. So even sometimes this is true, guys. we have a company, we have a restaurant, we have a little enterprise, and we do everything right, and we have these beautiful cultures, and we have all that, and there is one person that they don't engage on the work, isn't it? And there's always going to happen, isn't it? Even with everything that we put, all the tools and everything over there, there's one person that just don't get it. So what are we going to do?
What are you going to do with that one person that doesn't get it?
I'm guessing right there what's on the slide: teach, inspire, and motivate them.
Yeah, but if we do that, it's not working. Trinity, what you will do it?
Can you repeat the question again?
So even that we are doing everything, teach and inspire and motivate the person, and we foster everybody to do the job, and there's one person that just don't get the message, it's not working, it's completely disengaged to the company. What do you do about it?
I don't think I would give up on that person. I mean, I guess they're just, they can't, I don't know. I just wouldn't give up on them. I would like keep trying and trying. It's just something that I would do. I wouldn't give up.
You will not give up on that person. That's an interesting approach. You will not give up on the person, no matter if it's doing, and we're gonna keep causing trouble, but you will not give up, because maybe you will try it harder to be sure that you engage with that person. What do you think about that position, Cameron?
I think if you've been putting loads of effort into one person to get them motivated to do their job and do what needs to be done, and they're not responding in any positive sort of way, then either they need to have like a wake-up call to how the real world actually works if they want to get any. And you'll probably have to kind of tell them that if they don't pick up what they're doing and really improve their attitude, that they don't have a place at your company or place of work.
I think Jonathan raised a hand. What do you think? Jonathan, you were the person who raised a hand?
No, Chef. I just raised my hand.
Said no.
This ain't though, it's me, Chef.
Okay, Christopher, it was you. Okay.
I agree. I sort of agree with Cameron, except for if you're already putting time in and they refuse, I will honestly just let them go and not try to give them any more chances. I mean, I've already put effort in and they refuse to try to move forwards. Why waste more time on that person?
That's a good point. So
I
I
agree
think
with
that, yes, Joshua, yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you only can only give a person so much time, you know what I'm saying, to either get it or not get it, or to care or not care, and to show the employee or the employer that they care or not care. And once that time frame is up, you know what I'm saying, you can't do anything more about it if you've already tried and they're not willing to put the other effort. So other than that, if they're not willing to put the other effort and the company is the only one putting the effort to train and all that and give them positive and give his more boost, then I mean that's all only thing you can do is show them the door.
Yeah. So Trinity, this is my point. What you have to you have to put in the balance. Is
Right.
the efforts that you put in on this person is affecting the morale of the rest of the group. It makes sense. Affecting the
Yes.
motivation of the rest of the group. Yes. But if the group want to help that person, you know what I mean, and they don't want to let it go, they try to try it, it's okay to do
Right.
that, you can try it. But if that person, after all the effort that you're doing, it's affecting the morale and the attitude of the whole rest, it's something that we have to think about it, don't you think? It's worth it
Yeah.
or not to keep that person, or I just let it go. So those are
Right.
decisions that are that you have to confront on the management aspect. And I'm agree with you. And we need to have more heart, and we always need to put ourselves in the shoes of other people and see the circumstances why that person is not. Maybe as we're talking, it is an external thing, isn't it? The person is not working good because it has a baby and the baby has not daycare. Let's put an example, and then the brain of that person is not in the job because it has a lot of problems. So we have to put attention on all those things and be sure that when we take the decision, that decision that is going to affect the life of that person is taken correctly. So I'm agreeing with both sides.
For sure.
So human resources is a huge support in the handling of a restaurant. So if you don't have human resources, you have to be sure that you have a management group that discuss all these things, and this group has to be very open, and be awareness that there's many things that can affect the morale and the work of every person on the road. You have to be sure that that's what we're talking, and is that when you have one person, when you decided to hire, it's the life of that person that is put it in your hands, isn't it? So don't give up. So guys, there you are. We're gonna get into a break right now. So we're gonna return at 11:45, okay?
Sounds good. I'll see you at 11:45.
So let's take a break.
Jeff.
Yes.
Hey, come on. Hey. Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
So is it planning to be pretty bad there, or what are they planning?
At SFA,
Or
I mean,
are you in Austin, or where are you at right now?
right. So I just came back to NAC earlier this week. I was in Spring.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
So what are
Last
they
time I was
planning in NAC?
No,
like a lot of.
we'll probably just have a lot of rain and a lot of water,
Okay.
or a lot of wind and a lot of rain.
Okay. I just.
Yeah, so it won't be nothing crazy.
Okay. All right. I just didn't know if I needed to go do something for my daughter. So cool. Thank you. So does everybody know exactly what you're supposed to do for Friday? So you just need to come up with a name of a restaurant, your name, whatever name of a restaurant you want, a concept. And the concept is nothing more than, is it going to be a Chinese food restaurant in a trailer? Or is it going to be Filipino food? Or is it going to be a fusion or whatever? But your concept, if it's, if you're going to be a trailer, if you're going to be, a barbecue trailer, or, a catering company, whatever, but just a name, you need a name, you need the concept. So what kind of food region are you going to do? And then a mission statement. I would suggest all of y'all just typing up, or Googling mission statements for restaurants or whatever else. But, for me, a mission statement is like, we're going to serve the customers perfect food every time. We're going to, whatever else. Just, I would look up like a mission statement and try to figure out exactly what you want to, how you want your restaurant to be. But those are the things that we are wanting now. We are not wanting you to come up with a menu right now. We are not wanting you to come up with costing out recipes right now. All we want to know is just, you know, what's the name of it. And think about, while you're thinking about that, maybe think about where you would like this located. Would you like it located in Austin, Texas, like like downtown 6th Street, or South Austin, or, you know, East Austin, or wherever else, or in, you know, Louisiana, or in Africa, or wherever? It doesn't really matter. But just start thinking about ideas where you would like to put this restaurant, because you need to know where to put it before you can kind of maybe kind of determine who your clientele is. Because if I, for example, let's say I want a restaurant called All About Pork. So everything is pork, right? Well, and then I make that restaurant, or put that restaurant down close to where all the Hasidic Jew population is in New York, where all the Jewish community is, and we don't, you know, and they don't eat pork. So that would be not smart for me to put a pork restaurant in that area. Does that make sense? So think about where you're going to be putting this restaurant, and that kind of helps you determine what kind of cuisine or what kind of things you're going to be looking for.
Thank you, Chef, for that clarification, because I was thinking, you know, that we had to do the menus and all the other stuff too, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I was trying to, you know, get everything, but yeah, now you.
No, that menu, I mean, that the menu project is due. You know, the whole thing is due the last 6 weeks of the block. So the very last week of the block is when it's due. So everything that we're doing bits and pieces. We're gonna take a bite of here, we're gonna take a bite here, and make it so where it's a little easier to swallow. Does that make sense? Instead of making you, okay, it's due all on Friday, you know, fake it till you make it type of deal. And that's what I don't want you to do.
Thank you, Chef.
So let me, are there any other questions about the project? And this is just this is a basic project, and we're just trying to get you
Chef,
to.
Chef,
Yes.
and something that is important is why? Why are we making you this basic thing? It's why are we making you start with the idea of we need to start to do a restaurant? Because with this idea, this first idea that you are making today, that you have to do it on Friday, with that idea, we're going to start making the menu for that place that you are creating right now. It makes sense? So, and you know, we received, let me tell you guys, I have a, Lyric, are you here? Lyric.
He's here. He's in the chat.
He's on the chat, okay. So we have Larry and Jonathan, are you there?
Jonathan's here. Do you want to?
Yes, so
unmute
I already received, you know, Jonathan work, and it's just amazing. It's so well done. So, and I'm gonna, if Jonathan allowed me, I wanna read to everybody, guys, this that he presented, okay?
Yes, he said that would be fine.
Okay, so Jonathan sent me this. The name of his place called Sin Trigo. Sin Trigo means without wheat. Sin Trigo is a Spanish word that says without wheat. So it says the concept of my restaurant will be completely gluten-free menu. The name will be called Sin Trigo, which means without wheat in Spanish. The menu will consist of an authentic gluten-free Hispanic food. And then it says the mission statement is, our mission is to serve authentic gluten-free Spanish food while also sourcing our ingredients from local farms and small business. You see? So it's a very short thing, and he really explained what he want to do. So when we get to the point that we have to make the menu, he has to make those menus from that Cintrigo place. It makes sense. So it's a short thing. It shouldn't be. We don't need you to make a huge statement, 2-3 pages. That is just a short thing. And I also receive another that is interesting that says, "Flyby, this is Larry Martin. If Larry, can I read in public your homework, Larry? Would you let me do that?"
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So there you are, guys. So and this is interesting because even for me it's a mystery kind of. The restaurant called Flyby or Bahai, or I don't know what to pronounce, maybe By or Bahai. It's a catering style breakfast sandwiches and dinner rice bowls. So you see in one sentence, he's telling what it's all about. It's a catering style breakfast sandwich and dines dinner bowls. And says common Bahai wrap breakfast sandwiches for the office, for Bahai rice bowls, for dinner parties, coming soon to the menu are Bahai breakfast bowls. At Fly Bahai, we're ultimately committed to offering the fresh, organic, local, homegrown ingredients presented seasonal menu that's locally artistic and cultivating a healthy relationship on your table and for the environment. There you are. We know what he was going to do. Exactly what he's going to do. So great job to put, the name and the concept and the statement. So it's just very short. So you don't need to make a big of a deal, but that's the idea to show you guys how can you do the work. Did you have any questions, guys?
I don't think so. I don't see any hands.
So that has to be presented for Friday, and that is going to be the base of the rest of the work that we're going to do. And based on what you are presenting, that's where we're going to develop the menu for that. It makes sense? And the menu is something that we're going to start working on the future, so you don't have to do the menu right now. That has to be very clear. Yeah, good job, Jonathan. Good job, Lyric. Good job.
Yeah.
And this is a good point to approach to this homework, guys. Guys, remember, I still have 15 people that never give me the homework from the weekend. So then you guys, you know the consequence. You're gonna have 0 on the homework, and that's gonna affect your grades. Maybe you're not gonna see the grades yet, but as soon as we put the grades of all the homeworks, you're gonna see that that's gonna be huge. One more thing, guys, if you miss classes, if you for those who has missed classes, you have the opportunity to make up those classes so you can have a grade on that class that you didn't come. You can stay at the end and talk to us, and we can help you to be sure that you can accredit a grade on the day that you have missed it. If you don't do nothing, you're going to have 0 on that day, and it really is going to affect your grades at the end. We really come here and we really try to help you guys. We don't try to push you down. I know that you have your reasons, so we can help you to be sure that you have a grade on that day instead of 0. Can you see, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So this next part, we're going to talk about communication. So communication, guys, is the base of human relations, isn't it? We really embrace our lives because of the communication that we have. Teaching is communication, isn't it? Parenting is communication. Friend relationship is communication. Love is communication, isn't it? Hate is communication. So our life in general is attached to the way that we communicate with others. And that is so important. And guys, so words are so powerful, isn't it? The ideas that comes with the words are even powerful more, isn't it? We can cause damage just with words. You know, words can kill people. Words can help people. Words can inspire people, and the opposite. So the way that we do it, and sometimes that is very true. Sometimes we open our mouths, and from our mouth come things that we regret it, isn't it? Why I tell this person this? Why I says this? Why I do this? I shouldn't tell this. Have you ever experienced that? So that I said I shouldn't tell that person that something. Oh, I communicate wrongly. That was not the idea. You misinterpreted what I was trying to tell you. I think everybody has something, isn't it? In some point in your life, that something like that happened. And so that is important in life. So if it's important in life, in the workplace is even more important. The way that we try to make the things and we try to other people to perceive the company. The way that we create cultures is because of the communications, isn't it? Or the way that we fail, majority of the time is because lack of communication. So there you are. So we're gonna start this with a little video. So guys, I'm a fan of TED Talks because they really inspire people, isn't it?
Yes, they do.
This is a TED Talks for a person for a PhD student in Texas.
It's showing up.
Jeff, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
What's more important in communication? What you say or how you say it? Generally, the consensus tends to lean more towards how we say things, our body or our nonverbal behaviors, as social scientists call it. And if you look online, you'll quickly find this to be true. Most of the attention, historically and currently, has been paid towards the importance of nonverbal behavior within communication, because nonverbal supply a lot of information that isn't projected or supplied verbally. In fact, as I was looking up examples for this talk, I even came across an article titled, "What TED Talk Speakers Teach Us About Presenting." And one of the things that they focus on is the power of nonverbal. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Or is it? I want to challenge that. Perhaps what we say, our verbal behaviors, are much more important than we realize. Perhaps what we say has been so much more important now than it ever has been before in history. And perhaps we've been focusing on the wrong aspect of communication for a while. But first, I want to step back and talk a little bit more about communication in general. One of the most important things about communication is having other people understand what you're saying, establishing mutual understanding. After all, communicating can be quite difficult if no one can really understand each other, right? And so how do people actually even develop a mutual understanding for each other in the first place? Well, previously, researchers and writers have suggested that the development of common ground understanding is largely dependent on interaction partners coming to use the same words in essentially the same way. However, researchers weren't able to test this empirically in order to determine if it's true or not, because there hadn't been anything that could measure what they wanted to measure, which was the extent to which interaction partners use the same words in essentially the same way. Fortunately, though, in recent decades, a new measure called latent semantic similarity, or LSS, as I will be referring to it as, was proposed to be such measure. And so what exactly is LSS? So LSS is a measure that is assessed by using a program called latent semantic analysis, which is an automated statistical method that establishes the contextual meaning of any text by analyzing the relationship among the words that are used. In other words, the LSS measure determines how similar two blocks of text or two groups of words are to each other based on the words that are used and how those words are used in relation to other words. So for example, if I'm talking to one of my friends about our weekend plans, the LSS measure would first take all the words that I say, compare it against all the words that my friend says, and determine the amount of shared meaning that exists between us within our conversation. And so as someone who studies social psychology and someone who is especially interested in how people come to understand each other, especially the processes and the behaviors that underlie it, my colleagues and I decided to test this measure in order to determine if it can actually be a legitimate measure of how much people understand each other. And so in our very first study, which has been published in the Journal of Language and Social Psychology, we analyzed a sample of videotaped recordings. And in these recordings were a series of initial interactions between pairs of strangers who had just met for the very first time. And so they had never met before, and so they were having a conversation for the first time ever with each other. So we analyzed this, and we also analyzed and measured a wide variety of nonverbal and verbal behaviors that occurred within these interactions. And we found that the LSS measure was indeed a legitimate measure of how much people understood each other. So now we have something that can empirically measure this. Great. So next, we wanted to determine the behaviors that would significantly predict high levels of mutual understanding. In other words, what were the behaviors that were most important when you are communicating with someone and you want to establish common ground understanding? And so in our second study, we again analyzed two completely separate samples of initial interactions that occurred between pairs of strangers again. And then we also analyzed a wide variety of verbal and nonverbal behaviors. And we found that the only behavior that consistently predicted how much people understood each other were their verbal behaviors. the amount of talking that they engaged in, and how many questions they asked each other. All of the other behaviors,
You ready?
like gestures or smiling, laughing, gazes, nonverbal acknowledgements, all of these nonverbal behaviors were not essential for the development of common ground understanding. Now, that doesn't mean that nonverbal behaviors are not important in communication. They are important when it comes to creating an emotionally pleasant and involving interaction. But they're not important when it comes to developing mutual understanding with each other. And what is important is what we say, the words that we use. And so the science behind this is only one reason why I argue that we should be really focusing more on what we say rather than how we say it. The second reason, and perhaps a more important reason, is the internet. The internet has drastically changed how we communicate with each other on a daily basis, and it has done so in a very, very short amount of time. As most of you will probably remember, the internet became publicly available in the 1990s. And up until then, people primarily communicated either in person, over the telephone, or sent letters, to name a few. Today, how do we primarily communicate? We send each other emails. We send each other text messages. We send each other instant messages. We comment on each other's Facebook statuses. We tweet. If you're on an online dating website, which is becoming increasingly popular, and if you see someone that you're interested in, what do? You send them a message. We engage in this form of communication so much every day, and it has literally allowed us to communicate with anybody on the planet at the touch of our fingertips, whether or not that person is halfway across the world or if that person is right next to us. The internet and the technological advances that have resulted from it have made communication so much easier and has changed the face of communication just in general. And the resulting different types of communication all have one thing in common. They're all primarily text-based. They consist solely upon the words that we use, our verbal behaviors. No one is going to know whether or not you had shifty eyes or that you were nervously twiddling your thumbs whenever you send a text message or an email or an instant message. Our body language, our nonverbals, don't really matter in this type of communication that dominates our everyday lives. And yet, we continue to focus on it. And again, I don't believe that nonverbal behaviors are not important. They are. But if we are to live in a society where we primarily engage in this type of communication, where this type of communication is so largely intertwined with our sense of self, our well-being, and our livelihood, we should adapt accordingly. And we should begin to place more importance on the behavior that we engage in the most and that has the most influence, the words that we use. We should be focusing more on what we say rather than how we say it. Thank you very much.
So, Chip, are you there?
Yes.
Guys, before we start this talking, I want to see that you're here back in class. Can you show yourself, please?
Bella?
Thank you.
Ebron? Ebron?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here.
Titus?
Mine is just glitching.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Thank you.
So to make a point of this this short video, guys, is that, you know, communication is so important, but today on our daily life, even on the workplace, we are using those tools, isn't it? We talk, we manage, we handle, and sometimes it's not in person. It is communication online, on phones, on internet, messages, and things like that. What you want to be sure is you want to be sure that you really deliver the message that you want to put it in there. And that has to go in both ways, isn't it? Not just one way. So, of course, the personal relationships are important in life, and learn to communicate each other is important. And learn how to approach each other, how to use the language to express ideas properly is very important, you know, and how to use the internet for purpose of work. As example, you know, will you use emojis for a work message?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's unprofessional.
Yes, agree.
So you see, like emojis, you will not use it there. So you will not want to that your boss sent you an emoji to you, isn't it? With something that say you know something. You want a proper, you know, reading text that tell you exactly what to do, and they're just handled by emojis. So that kind of thing is, we have to be sure that we can use it. So, you know, there's information can be verbal, you know, no verbal, you know, person to person, an organization can include emails, text messages, notes, calls, writing orders, whatever. But communication is so critical when you build a company inside of a culture of working. So we have to build that sense of trust in people and be sure that whatever tools that we're using, it's trustable. And this is something that's very important in the workplace, because there is a lot of mess in the restaurant business, isn't it, Chef? Like,
yes.
Let's tell you how fast they change the schedules for people, isn't it? And then you come, you know, you should tell me this, the information that comes from one ship to another, the closing at the restaurants with all the ideas what happened if there's not informed, what's gonna happen, you know? If at the end of the, if there is a problem with the hood, if there is a problem, you have to communicate the message, isn't it, properly, immediately, instantly. You don't want to get to the point of chaos because somebody didn't deliver the message. So that's something that is very, very important.
I agree.
So we know that turnover is a big problem in the industry because there's a lot of disengaging, isn't it?
Yes.
But we know for sure that that turnover can reduce, and because of that, the productivity is going to improve just because we invested more in the right communication tools on the workplace. So that is really, really important. And this is completely demonstrated. This is a fact, isn't it? Great communication, guys. It is really a light in the middle of this chaotic system that we have in the kitchens, because restaurants are kind of really crazy, isn't it? Crazy environments. So if you haven't worked in the restaurant, you will see that when you get there, it's kind of crazy the amount of work that we have, and this craziness that we have inside of the restaurants. But at the same time, you know, that craziness has some time of order, isn't it? Everything goes smooth if everybody knows what to do in the middle of that craziness.
What we call controlled chaos.
Yes, it's a controlled chaos. Yes, that's how it is. And because it's that lack of time all the time, isn't it? And it's a sense of urgency and everything, you know. And timing is something that is so tight in the restaurant business, and a way to communicate it perfect. Let's put an examples on that. You know, the reservation systems, you know, we want to be sure that we communicate well with our clients and be sure that that is working. You know, cancellations, and we know for sure how many people, the time as they're coming, what type of table they needed, you know, they're gonna need ballet, they have special needs, anything like that, we want to know with advance so we can be prepared for that, isn't it?
For sure.
And then when they come to the restaurants, and then we have those training to the people who receive, you know, the hostess, they have to receive, you know, there is since 6 feet, they know there's procedures to receive the clients, you know. There is policies that says, you know, a client should never wait more than 1 minute on the table before somebody come and help him. And then how you take it, how you close the information with the guest to know exactly in which part of the restaurant they want. How do you take it to the table? How you seat the people on the table, isn't it? It's a whole thing of communication that happened in between them. Then they sit on the table, and then another group of people is gonna come, the servers, isn't it? And then they have few things. Knows what this guest needs. So how do they know what they need? Communication. They have to establish right community, professional and nice communication. Then induce sales. So what we try to do is they learn how to induce sales into the customers. So help to let's see, like to carry the guests through the menu and help to sell the things that the restaurant really wants to sell. And then at the same time, you don't want to overwhelm the rest, the people who are in the restaurant. You want them to feel that they are in control. So then the orders start moving to the kitchens, isn't it? Then the communication between the server and the kitchen. Maybe it's online communication, the order comes, but if the order is not well taken, it's gonna be a chaos in the kitchen, isn't it? So, but just imagine a kitchen that is coming, that you have 100 seats, and at 5 o'clock at night, you're gonna have full restaurant. So maybe you're gonna have, let's say that you're gonna have 40 tables. At some point, you're gonna have 40 tickets in the kitchen, isn't it, Chef? 30,
yes,
40
you will.
tickets in the kitchen that coming online to the different areas that has to come out. So really, really is this chaos that we're talking. Everybody's moving and has to go this way and this way. And not only that, there is changes, isn't it? There is changes in the menu because this person has allergies. This person wants this change. They don't want this side. They want this other side. They don't want the dressing on the top. They want the dressing on the side, and so on, isn't it? And then you have the meat, the term of the meat. You know, they want rare, they want well done, they want this and that and this and that, and everything has to come at the same time. At the same time, the dishes for the table. If there's a table of 6, the 6 entries has to come at the same time. The 6 appetizers has to come at the same time. It's not okay to start coming the one person and you say one person and then go again, get to the second, get to the third, isn't it? Because at the time that you get the last one of the 6 persons, the first one, the food is cold, isn't it? You have to be sure that everybody is moving, everybody's come together, and it's all a matter of communication. It's all about that. And then they need water, they need drinks, isn't it? During the service, they need something extra. Oh, extra ketchup, oh, these things like that. Or maybe it can be a problem, isn't it? The meat has not on the right time, has to return. that has to go back immediately. You want to serve this, you want to be sure that everything go fast and smooth in the best way. And the way that communicate to the customer has to be in a way that has to be very positive, so the customers don't get feeling bad, especially when there's complaint, isn't it? And it has to go faster and things like that. And then in the kitchen, there's this chaos, everybody's talking, isn't it? To be sure that all the plates coming in the right way. And I'm gonna talk today about the system of repetition. We have a system in the kitchen that calls the system of repetition. That is the way that you are gonna get into the kitchen and gonna use it, isn't it, Chef?
Yes.
And that's how we know that the person get the message. So so it's not only yes chef, no chef, but that system of repetition. So yes, so there's a lot of things that happen over there. And then at the moment that, how do we close that table, isn't it? Maybe we have a reservation coming and they're using the time and they want to keep others. So we put we induce them to move it out. We let it go without break that communication, without break that sense of trust that we have between our guests and ourselves, you know, that they don't feel that we push them out of the restaurant. And then everything has to move in a way that, you know, they have to have a feedback from you want to have a feedback from the guests, isn't it? How it was, how was the meal, how was all these things. And that has to be put in a report. And then how they get out, how they finish, how you put, they're going to pay in cash, they're going to use credit cards, how long it's going to take. There's a whole message and information that's moving around there. And then they pay, isn't it? And then when they pay, how do we assist them to get out of the restaurant, you know? So the guys feel that the experience is beautiful. Even out there, that maybe we have a doorman on the side, or a guest, or a hostess saying bye-bye. Maybe we have a valet outside that is gonna help. All that thing, it has to move beautiful in a way that we communicate with the guests and between each other. So it's a whole chain that is moving around in the business to be sure that the guests receive the best experience, isn't it?
Sure.
It's all about training, how to operate each one of the stations in front of the house and back of the house. That communication has to improve daily to be sure that is. So we have verbal communications, and also we have unverbal communication, isn't it? Because we don't want make too much of a noise in the restaurant when there is a lot of where we try to be quiet. Sometimes you see the people in the saloon, if you get to a restaurant, especially the one that are, you know, classified like best restaurants, you know, that people make like signals in the kitchen, outside in the front of the house, that they communicate between each other. Isn't that true, Chef?
Yes, it is. Very true.
They have their own system of signals. And also in the restaurants, they develop their own vocabulary that they can say in short words, express whole ideas, because everything has to go fast, isn't it?
Yes.
So let's start checking one by one the things, you know. If you work on the front of the house, as an example. So first thing, the people who work in the back of the house workers need to communicate with the restaurants, with the front of the house. There needs to be good communication between each other. And they need to learn communicate between themselves, isn't it? That's something that is for sure. Front of the house, we have these things that we call interaction, the 10-5 rule. That means, you know, people, as soon as the people go 10 feet from you, you already has to receive the person with a smile and make eye contact and be sure that the person knows that you are putting interest in on that person and move it. And that happened with the servers, taking the people to the table, the waiters and everybody. If you have that contact, you know, that is non-verbal communication, that engages the customer into the service, isn't it? And it's something that is non-verbal. So we have verbal and non-verbal communication that is moving between us. In the dining experience, guys, it depends on the quality, the type of restaurants, how complicated or simple it could be the things, but everything it has to go in the same way, no matter what type of business that you are, which is creating a pleasant experience and atmosphere to the guest when he is paying for this kind of service. So the customer is paying for the experience, isn't it? That's what we really believe in this business. This is a business of people more than a business of food. So we really feel that where we are, what the customer trust is to have an experience in the restaurants. So you can have a restaurant that you only sell food. If that's the case, what's going to happen, my friend, is you're going to be fighting for cents. You cannot put high prices if you just sell food. So you have to compete on the market selling food, you know, and you have to put big portions, and maybe you have to be cheap, and you have to fight for cents. You know, there's a lot of Cracker Barrel restaurants in America, you know, that use for trackers and think that they just want food. They don't want this. They just want food, isn't it? And even with that, you want to have kind of experience. But you were fighting for food, and you were fighting for price and volumes on that case. But even with that, you need to have some kind of experience. Because if a food tracker don't want to eat in your place, it is because your food is really, really bad, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes. Yes, it's really bad.
So in the case of the restaurants in general, what we are thinking, you know, that the customers should receive experience, you know, we should have procedures, and we should have protocols and systems that helps the customers to get to that point. And because of that, those procedures, those protocols needs to be known for the people who are handling the service. That's very, very important. Yes, Lauren? Okay. So let's put it this way. We need to have procedures for seating, how you see the restaurant, procedures for taking orders, protocols on how to handle the food service, isn't it? As example, seating procedures. How are you going to seat the persons? So that's a procedure. Who works on the service, and who can tell me when you receive and seat people, how are you going to do that thing, that protocol?
Oh, are you going to seat the people?
Yes. So we have protocols for that, you know, and we always say, all people first, isn't it? Ladies first,
ladies.
Children's, you know, children's and all that. And the person need to know, you know, help the person who has the more needs first, you know, where are you going to set it, you know, on the table and all that. And then help the others to set, you know, and be sure that you want to be sure where to set it. If the people come with children, you don't want to sit on the side with other people that are doing business, isn't it? Because the children are going to disturb the conversation of others. So you have to be very careful when that will be, and you know, kind of a language that you express is a non-verbal thing. I'm sitting there and I don't want a children on the side. So so there are these protocols that you have to know to be sure that you take serious that and you set properly the persons on the tables. And then as soon as you set on the tables, then you have to start, you know, knowing what's going on. So there's a protocol for that. First, you need to have information of your guests. What kind of information we need to know when we sit persons on the table?
How many people are going to be seated?
You already is watching. Yes. but you want to ask if there's more people. But normally we have a reservation. We know for sure that this table has this number of persons. But yes, if there's more people coming, yes, good idea. One thing. What else? You want to know things. You want to get information. Yes.
If they have kids.
If they are kids, normally, if they are kids, you see them because you're sitting over there. But you need to have all kind of information. Then, why are they there? Why are they in the restaurant? You know, there's a birthday? Is there a special occasion that they are celebrating? You know, is there's wedding anniversary? It's a birthday. It's something. Why they are doing that? It's just pleasure. You need to recall some information that you need to know to give them a better experience always, you know. So there are this approach that we have to make some questions to know exactly why are they in the restaurants, isn't it? And when we know that, we can be prepared for the rest. And then we should start with the protocols of ordering. So when we get in a protocol of ordering, what are the first things that we order, the guest should be ordering, guys?
Their drinks.
Their drinks. Why we do that?
To get them to have something to drink on while they're actually looking over the food items in the menu.
Exactly, isn't it? We want to give them something to entertain themselves, to they cover the time that it's going to take from the taking the order until the food start coming back. So there is a whole procedures to we want to make it. We want to be sure that we help them to do that in a very beautiful way, you know. So the guy should know about selling, isn't it? You can sell cocktails, you know. If there's children, you can sell all kind of beverages for children, you know. If there is healthy people, you can offer, you know, there's all kind of things that we can do to offer the right thing to the right people. And then we're going to take the orders, you know, and then we know for sure what is going to happen. It depends on the restaurant, you know. What happened in general, guys, if you have big plates, dinner plates, isn't it, offering, what happened is the people just go and get one dinner plate and they are packed, isn't it? Yes or not?
Yes.
So if we have nice restaurants, what we do right now is dinner plates are shorter. So they are not so big because we want the person who has enough time to get appetizers and desserts, isn't it? So that's the reason that we don't put too much big food in just one dish. So we start with appetizers, you know, the appetizers. So, and we know for sure that the 80%, 85% of the customers, they don't know what they're going to eat when they come to our restaurants. So they are in the hands of the person who are taking the orders. That communication has to establish in a proper way, isn't it? And so on and so on. Let me go straight one by one. Seeing procedures, that's what we're talking, you know. When they come to the restaurants, there's a hostess that receives it, isn't it? So we have that thing, you know, 10 feet before, somebody has to already put attention to that person and that make eye contact, you know, smile them, they sure that they are welcome to the place. So it should be a policy over there, you know. No one, a person couldn't stay more than 1 minute in front of the hosted area without receive attention. So that's very important. So then we have to, there's information, recall the information. Who are them? Do they have a reservation or not? Isn't it? That's very important. So if they have a reservation, we check how many people they are. They are all there. They are not. They're going to wait on the table. They can wait on the bar, isn't it? You have these two chances. And we have to be able to manage. We need to have communication with the bar that we're sure that if they want to wait in the bar, we have space in the bar for these people. We cannot say, you know, yeah, you can go to the bar. There's no space in the bar. So They need to have enough information from all the departments to be sure what are you going to do with this guest. And then you're going to take it to the restaurant. So normally this person is going to take it, talk a little bit. What are you doing here? You're celebrating something, you know. It's going to recall a little information, and as soon as they see it, they give that information to the server that is going to attend the table. It's a birthday. It's a birthday of the grandma. They're celebrating this. And normally, you are very able to give that information to that person that is very nice to you and receive you and sit it on the table. There you are.
For sure.
So that all sorts of information you have from that one person called hostess.
And can I jump in? The host,
yes,
the
sure,
hostess, the person that is greeting the customer, that is the customer's very first time to ever like talk to this person. So that the people, the hostess need to be with a smile on their face. They don't need to have a frown. They, you know, I mean, when I've gone to places and, you know, they're busy, all of a sudden, you know, I hear, hey, can I help you? Or, you know, something very gruff. You know, you need to, because this is their first time that they're, you know, an employee is with them. So you need to make sure that hostess understands, or host or hostess understands that they are the very first person that they're getting greeted by, and they could sour the whole experience if they do it wrong, right? So you just need to be very careful with that.
Yes, so they need to be on that procedures and protocols, isn't it? Established.
Sure.
So that person needs to know exactly what to do. Exactly. No doubts. That person needs to know what to do. Eye contact, smile, you know, you are the face of the restaurant at that moment, you know, and recall information from the persons at the beginning. You have reservations or not? Who are you? Isn't it? And then how many are you? Are you all here? All that things, isn't it? At the time that you have your reservation, all these things. Maybe they come early, maybe they come late, isn't it? It could happen. And also, you know, maybe they come on time, but the table that was assigned to them is not ready. That's very common, isn't it, Chef?
Yes, especially now with COVID. You know, things are, the tables aren't ready in time because people are taking a little more time or they have less space. So for sure.
So you have to be, that person has to be able to manage very smooth the things, you know, and be sure that they can, and normally the hostess also has some kind of free wellness in some cases that can be sure to handle that situations that are a little bit uncomfortable, isn't it? Like if the table is not ready and the guests get a little upset because they come on time and the other people are not coming out. So they have to be sure how to handle all that kind of situations.
Sure.
And, you know, at the end, we can offer the extra drinks, things, you know, that helps to calm the uncomfortable situation that you don't have the table at the right time. That was the taking orders, you know. That's a lot of whole deal of information that needs to be recalled, isn't it? So, yes. Selling drinks first, isn't it? Then sell appetizers. That's very, very important, you know, how you sell the appetizers. And you have to train the people on sales to know what's the correct words, how to approach to the table, how you can do it, how you can do it. And there is a lot of psychology on the back. Put an example. Desserts, isn't it? Desserts is so hard to sell. Yes or not?
No.
Answers? Trinity, you think desserts are hard to sell in a restaurant?
I'm sorry, what?
Desserts are hard to sell in restaurants?
The shirt?
Desserts. Is desserts hard to
Oh.
sell at a restaurant, or are do they just fly off?
Yeah, they are, because like some people, like they get full off their meals sometimes, and like a dessert is.
Exactly. So when people get to desserts, they already eat it. They are not hungry, isn't it? So you are not hungry when you get to the point to get the dessert. So the dessert has to be explained in a way that you have mouth watering when the people is talking, isn't it? And the people can talk. That's one thing, isn't it? Or in verbal communication, they can come with a troll and show you the desserts. That's another good approach that many restaurants has, isn't it? To put the dessert in front of you so you can see it, and that is something that because we eat with the eyes, or they have that capacity to explain the desserts in a way that is so beautiful that you really wanted to eat it. So that's it. So that is something that we teach them. We teach them how to do it, and they do trainings, and they go and over and over and over. And for sure we know things, they are not hungry, but hey, put this way, since we are children, how our parents reward us when children do that? We give them sweets, isn't it?
Candy. Yep.
We give them candy. So we have that in our brain to trigger out. So when the people learn that, I have this guy that used to work and says, I know how to trigger, and they go at the end, oh, and he says something like, oh, you've been so good, you've been so good on this table that you deserve a dessert. And it's like an internal trigger in the brain of people. Yeah, I deserve a dessert, because I've been a good boy. And he starts explaining the desserts, and immediately people get hooked because they have this inside thing on their brain that is playing with the unconscious of people, that the information that we have it over there and the heart and things like that. You think it's true? It works?
Oh, it does work.
It does work. Let me tell you, it does work.
Or you get another thing is, if you're doing like Cherries Jubilee or Bananas Foster, and if you sell one or give away one at the very beginning and let everybody see it, then everybody's going to want it, because it's creates attention.
Yes. One other thing is, on this, there's some bad behaviors on the restaurants that I see through the years, that we have to be very careful, like something selling wines, isn't it? And when we're selling wines, we want to be sure that we help the customer to get the wines. Sometimes we have people that push the wines over the face of the people and create a bad experience with the guests. If you put it this way, there's 8 of 10 people, they don't know about wines, no? But if they come with a girlfriend, they come with a friend or something, they want to make them have a nice experience. So if the person comes and says, would you like some wine? I will recommend something like that. They will accept the recommendation. And sometimes that recommendation, it's very expensive. And the guy who was doing that feels that they took advantage of him because of that. And then they start serving the wine. And when the wine is finished, you don't want to order another bottle. And the guy come, get the bottle. Have you seen these white wines on the side of the table? We have these buckets with ice when we put the wine.
Yes, like yes. the wine holders.
Yes, the wine holders. And the guy come and says it's finished, and get the bottle and put it upside down inside of the bucket. And he's like, oh my God! And everybody's watching the bottle. And what's the one who is handling the table that says, you want more? You cannot say no, isn't it? Somebody's gonna say yes, and that's gonna increase the sales. But you are not feeling good that somebody come and pressure that way to you. So we have to very well, there is a lot of tricks that they use at people to try to sell in a bad way, that is very pushy. that we don't accept in the restaurant business. And we're trying to help the guests to have a good experience, but not to the point that they take advantage of him. Makes sense? Like, because he has he come with a girlfriend, he don't want to get bad with the girlfriend, but the guy that cannot come and try to sell the lobsters and things like that, especially with young people that they know for sure that they have kind of a tight budget, isn't it?
Yes.
So there's that kind of information that you have to be sure that there's a non-verbal information between the customer and the people who are doing the service to understand that we want to give them the right support to the guests to make it have the experience without go too far to use the trust of the guest in much of a favor of the person who is doing the serving. So that's why we're talking, you know, if you are a skilled service, that goes smooth. So what is the best first service restaurant? How do you perceive the first service of the restaurant? When you don't even notice that was a server on your site, isn't it? The dishes come in, they put it on the table, everything goes smooth, and you don't even know who was the person. It was so beautiful. And it comes and move out and in, and everything was so attended and was nice and quiet that you just don't perceive that somebody is attacking, somebody is in the back of you. It's just a nice support in the back, you know. If there is, the person know exactly that you want more bread, the person know exactly that you need more water without start trying to find where is the waiter, isn't it? The person know exactly and ask correctly if you want more of something, if you're okay. The person who has the correct approach in the middle of the eating to say, you know, if you like the food, if the food was okay, without interrupt the conversation. All these things are important. All these things are very important when we get into the table, because there's nothing more, what says, bad that you're beautiful having a conversation, a romantic conversation, and then somebody appears and says, how was the meat? Are you kidding me? I was ready to ask if she wanted to be my wife, and the guy comes and says, how was the meat?
Yeah.
You know? So that is kind of a no. So they need to know exactly when to approach, how to approach, you know, and make it as nice and smooth. When they're gonna finish, are they okay? With somebody finish the plate and it's not completed, they wanna rest, they want the package, they wanna take it home. There's a lot of things that happen, isn't it? Maybe they don't eat all, but they want to eat the rest at home. So all that kind of free service that we offer in the restaurant has to be applied to all this information that is coming and going in front and back from the server to the people who are on the table. And then one big thing is how we handle complaints, isn't it, Chef?
Complaints, for sure. Handling complaints, and you don't want to be the, aggressive, but you need to deal with complaints for sure.
What kind of complaints we can have on the service, Chef?
Food cold, the food not here on time, something in our food that's foreign object. Bathrooms are dirty, rude employees.
Yeah, but in a good restaurant that handle good things, probably what happened is, what you're gonna have is maybe a mistake in the order, isn't it? So.
Oh yeah, mistakes in the orders for sure.
Mistake in the order. I ordered with potatoes and come with asparagus. The meat was not precise on the proper
on the doneness.
And let me tell you, this is happening often. We know what is a rare in restaurants, but people don't know what is a rare meat. And sometimes they order, I want rare. They come rare. They try to cut it, and for them, is not cooked enough. So it says, you know, it's not rare that this is completely uncooked. You're not gonna you cannot discuss with the customer and says yes, no, that is rare. You are wrong.
You are wrong. Yeah.
You cannot say that to the restaurant. Says okay, or I want medium, and you get the perfect medium, and the guy says, that's not medium. I want more cooked. And what are you gonna say?
Yes. No problem.
No problem. Let's fix the problem right now and do it faster. So you don't get in discussion with the person and says, okay, no problem. You need, how do you want to get the right information? How exactly is how you need it, no? So they go and says, if it is not the standard, what is your standard? My standard is this, okay, no problem. We fix it. And you go and explain well to the kitchen to explain it. If they can get that piece of meat and fix it, that's gonna be fine. If they have to do new, it's gonna be new, and you have the person has to say, okay, no problem, we change it, but it's gonna take this amount of time to fix it, isn't it? So you get the proper information, the people to know. And in the middle, it says you want something in the middle to wait, you want a salad, you want something. And sometimes even for free, we give those freebies in order just to keep the rest, the person happy. One more thing, sometimes, you know, when there is complaints, we want to be sure if the complaint want to give it just to me or they want also give the complaint to the supervisor, isn't it? We cannot refuse a complaint. So we take very serious. If there is a complaint from the guest, we want to take that complaint very serious and be sure that we make the customers understand that if there is a mistake, we really take that seriously. And sometimes the server says, no problem, I will bring the supervisor so you also can talk to him and he can apologize too. So that kind of thing is very common, you know, and the guy come and be sure, and you know, and when we really try to go far and beyond with possibilities to be sure that that customer, that negative things that happen, we transfer into a positive thing. Do you think it's possible, guys, a negative experience converted in a positive experience?
For sure.
Sean, what do you think, Sean?
Yes, chef. You can take a terrible experience and turn it into a great experience. It all depends on how you handle the situation.
Yeah, that's really true. So we want to be known that everybody knows that a problem can to be fixed and converted, you know, in a good experience for the customer. And the guy says, you know, these guys are really care of myself, you know, and I really care of myself, and that's what is important, you know. We are dealing with human beings, and that's what's important. We're in the business of people. Then the payment process, isn't it? So the payment process or the checkout, isn't it, is part of the checkout process. It has many elements. One is the timing, because people, when they're finished eating, what they want to do in general.
Sometimes people want to leave right away, and sometimes people like to sit and talk.
Yes. So normally after eating, they relax a little bit, isn't it? And if they have time, they want to stay and talk a little bit. But hey, we have tight schedules for the reservations, you know. We know for sure the time to take a person to eat and how we use this timing to have another table and another table. So how we handle all that is part of that checking out experience without make the customer feel uncomfortable. When they bring the ticket, how we encourage the person to ask for the ticket and things like that, isn't it? Without make them feel that we are pushing them in a bad way. So there's protocols for that, you know, how you get approached, how they're gonna pay. And you know, a lot of trouble happen when tickets comes, isn't it, Chef?
For
So,
sure.
as example,
Because
at the end, they want the ticket divided, split it. You know, that's nightmare, isn't it? When they says, okay, they didn't tell you at the beginning, they didn't recall at the beginning that those tickets are split, and you have to split it, the ticket. And the guys has to they want to pay everybody what they eat, or I can split the cost of everything by the number of person. So there's a lot of things that happen over there, isn't it? And yeah, so that to call information has to be very, very, very knows that there's a protocol at the beginning when they are taking the order. The guy has to say, it's gonna be just one, ticket, or are they gonna split the tickets between you guys? We want to know for sure since the beginning, isn't it, Jeff?
for sure, we would like to know that. But sometimes it doesn't happen.
So if it doesn't happen, then it's gonna take time, and this has to be sure that we have to move it fast. We have to move it with efficient, so the guests don't have to wait too long to get all the information. And then if they go, how they gonna pay? They're gonna pay with credit card. Maybe they have a gift card, isn't it? Maybe they have they're gonna pay with check, cash. Very, very little check today, isn't it? You don't see too much.
Yeah, you don't see too much.
And I saw 1 week ago, I went to HEB, and there was this old lady, to get to the cash, and she get the check out, and I was, oh my God, that was it. 15 minutes waiting until she write the check.
Only time I write checks is to schools, like to public schools.
So, yeah, so then the ticket comes, how you put the ticket, and then are you gonna leave it there? You're gonna take it out. You wait until the people move to move the signed tickets, and then how are you gonna move it out? The person's out of the table, and then who's gonna conduct them out and say how the experience was, and then so it's saying bye, and then maybe there's a ballet outside that finish with experiences of the whole person doing this whole protocols, isn't it? So payment and checkouts are part of all that attention that we give them, and there is protocols for each one of these things. So every person which has in contact with the guest need to know what to do. Then we have the other side of the kitchen, the other side of the business.
The fun part.
Yeah, both parts are fun.
Cooking.
Both parts are fun, Jeff. The cooking area, the kitchen communication, and that is also that's another problem, isn't it? Another. This is another beast, completely different at the ones that they have in front of the house. Completely different, because the way that we handle the work is through the brigades, and the hierarchies in the kitchens are more tight than the one that they have in the front of the house. So when you get into this business, the communication between the front of the house and the back of the house, it's very, very important. That's the main thing, isn't it? To have good, imagine, the chaos if you come orders that are wrongly taken. Imagine the chaos that goes in the kitchen, a wrong order. So imagine the guy who is in the line and he has 10 orders in front of him that has to hold. And he's holding the orders, and in the middle of that, they come a person and says, hey, the plate that you already put it out, they return it because it was taking order back. So you have to cut all what you're doing and immediately start running up, fire up a dish that is maybe is is for another table. It's just a nightmare. So the communication between the front of the house and the back of the house is so important. It's so crucial, isn't it? Because how we run the things inside, in front of the house, everything is smooth and nice and all. You get in the back of the house and it's chaos, isn't it? It's very fast. It's a sense of urgency. You know, everybody's moving fast. So it's completely two different beasts that you have in front and back of the house. So communication is the key of success of a restaurant run, especially between front of the house and back of the house. You have something to say about this, Chef?
Yeah, just gotta just communicate with, because if you're not communicating with front of the house and back of the house, the only person that's going to affect is the customer. The customer is not going to get their good experience or whatever else. So it's the customer aspect of it. But yes.
So how you can avoid mistakes? So probably, as example, we can avoid mistakes by trying to establish systems that are automatic, isn't it? So the writing of the person that before they used to write it, it was hard to understand and misinterpret the order. Now they put it into the POSs and click it, the order come immediately, isn't it? The changes also, if they will take the order, the changes come perfectly immediately through a nice system of information that moves between the kitchens and the front of the house. Another thing, you don't have the people from front of the house abandon their stations to come inside of the kitchens to cross the information from their stations to the kitchen anymore. So everything goes to a POS and that information moves smoothly to the kitchen straight. They don't have to abandon the tables, isn't it? But they have to be very careful that that information that I send it to the kitchen is correct, that they put the right finger in the right hole, isn't it, in the right clip. And as well as the communication, everything goes the same thing inside of the kitchen, you know. The orders, the chefs put the orders, what's gonna happen in the kitchen. No, we don't do verbal that. There is a production order every day, isn't it? That the chef write it, put it on a paper, and that paper is communicated over there. Changes in the schedules, changes, problems that has been fixed and it has to be communicated. Everything is we're trying to do non-verbal information and everything is moving. Right now, guys, there is systems that we use it in the online system that we use it like Facebook, but instead of being for social media, it's for workings. So we can hire one of those services and we have interaction so they can have all that information and their phones and everything, and it only can be used by the company, and the information is kept in the company, it's there, and when the employee gets out, you can just take it out and that's it, you know. If you have that kind of information on Twitter or on Facebook, you know, there you are, the people is gone and still getting Facebook, and you don't want that. You want to have some kind of confidentiality with information. We don't use social media to handle all kind of things, you know. So the chef has to handle ships, orders, schedules, even in areas that he is not present at the moment. So how is going to do that? We need a system that is put in place so he can send it to computer, send the information, and that information is going to get here to the phone of the people who is having that information. Modern days, that's the way that we handle. And that person has to answer, you know, like says, yes, I did receive information. So the chef says, you know, Joe, I need you on Saturday morning here at 8 o'clock. You know, Mike gets sick, you know, Mike gets sick, or Mike, the baby that was waiting is coming, you know, the wife is ready to have a baby. he cannot be here. You have to replace me. Please come at 8 o'clock. There you are. And you send that information, and that person has to answer you. Yes, chef. Yes, I received the information. Here it is. And that's how we handle today these things faster, because we don't use the phone to do these things right now. We use and text all that information, isn't it, chef?
For sure, like Slack. Slack is a thing, or any communication. We don't call anymore, or I avoid calling. I would much rather text and all of that, just for work, because I can tell if they received it. I can tell if they read it, all sorts of things. So it helps me out a little bit more.
So modern day, like today, I have to say as example, modern day, since we start classes, and before, I think we talked just one time in the phone with Chef Cliff. The rest is emails or texting, isn't it, Chef?
Yep, that is right.
There you are.
And that's kind of what I do with even my boss, and your boss,
Yeah.
We do, we'll see our boss maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe, but we communicate through email and through text message. So, I mean, that's the normal day.
Yes. Well, in a kitchen, that's not the case. You want to have daily meetings every day.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, with a chef, and the chef is gonna, or the chef or the sous chef. It depends on how big is the restaurant, isn't it? Sometimes depends. If you're working in a small kitchen with a personalized restaurant, the chef is gonna be there all the time, isn't it? So the chef is gonna meet with everybody and get there. So, but the shifts at the kitchens are very long. So let's see, if you have a restaurant that open lunch and dinner, you have people working since 7 o'clock in the morning, guys. Yes or not, chef?
Yes.
For lunch, isn't it?
Yes.
And
for sure.
And they close at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So you cannot have a person since 7 o'clock until 2 o'clock, isn't it? So that information has to be handled in some way with the people, and that is through a system, automatic system. Normally a phone and this kind of system that helps to connect with everybody. All times was kind of a bad thing. We communicate through memos and things, and it was the person says, "Where are you not here?" I don't get the information, chef. And I sent you a memo. I never received the memo, chef. And and you are, well, it's not his fault,
Yep.
Or her fault.
Yep.
So one thing that is very important if we want to work in a kitchen, guys, is establish two-way channel of communication, isn't it, chef? So
Yes.
you have to encourage every person to be vocal. No matter what, you have freedom to speech in the kitchen. There's not, and here is not something that you want to say, I'm going to practice my Fifth Amendment, chef. I'm not going to talk. No. Here is, you need to talk in the kitchen. You need to talk. You are very open. You can talk for everything. If you see something, you talk. If you feel something, you talk. You always talk in the kitchen, and it has to be such open environment. No matter what kind of stupidity you say, somebody, the chef will hear. So it is that kind of thing, that
So true.
you just are very well open to talk. And when you feel that you can talk, you will talk, no problem, So you establish that communication that everybody can talk, you have to be vocal on the kitchen, There's important. The best way to be vocal in the kitchen. And there's mistakes. Yeah, there's mistakes in the kitchen. We try to avoid the mistake, but when it happens, yes, it happens. So there is this system, guys. So if there is a problem, let's see, one dish is not correct, or this returning, the whole thing it's just really bad, isn't it? So they have to lead, they have to correct the team. The guy who talk, sometimes we talk strong, but you know, we have to be behind the strong talk. It has to be a pat on the back, isn't it? When we do that kind of things in the kitchen, because of the stress. But avoid to be, we have to avoid to be sure that we respect people. Never disrespecting who is working in the kitchen, even that person commit a mistake. Don't you think, Chef?
Oh, never. Yeah, for sure.
So, Hell Kitchens, you know, Chef Gordon Ramsay's in the kitchen, that's something that will never work, isn't it?
Not at all. It's just
that is just for the show. It's not in real life.
You can't treat employees like that.
Oh, never, never. So another thing that in the kitchen, you know, especially for people who has positions of leadership, guys, is you have to be a good listener. You need to have your ears open, you know. Communication is both ways, no matter what. And when somebody wants to talk, you have to listen. You cannot stop and say, I have no time to hear you. I have no time to listen, because that will be a big disappointment for people. So it can be the team. If somebody has to say something, you have to listen. And when you have these skills that you listen, many nice things happen in the kitchen, because people start talking and they start fixing things, you know, they start identifying problems, and they start telling you amazing ways to fix the problems. So there you are. If you have that open ears, you will learn a lot. And let me talk something that I always say, you know, this is a Buddhist thing, you know, and says, you know, when you talk, you're trying to communicate things that you know. But when you hear, when you listen, you learn.
That is so true.
When you talk, you don't learn. You talk things that come from inside of you. But when you listen, you learn. So we have to be always open to listen, because when we listen, we learn. So be a good listener. That's something good. And that's something even in in your relations. If you have partners in life, you have somebody on your side, you have to be a listener.
So true.
No matter what. Isn't that, Chef?
Yes, that is so true.
So if somebody, if I want to talk to me, I stop and I watch her in her eyes and want to hear what is she have to say, and you know, I have to give her the priority, you know.
For sure you do.
Same on my children, you know, when they have to talk to me, I don't want anything in the middle. I just want full attention on what they want to tell me. Another thing, guys, when we have to criticize something, when we have to put attention on a mistake, isn't it? We want to be sure that we give a constructive criticism. We cannot be full negative in the way that we deliver the message, guys. We have to be always constructive. So if somebody make a mistake, you know, okay, you can talk to the person, let him know, or let him or her know that commit a mistake. Explain what was the mistake that person do, isn't it? And after that thing, we go at the end, but you also do these things good. So we try and always, guys, always get the criticism and finish with something that is positive, isn't it? Okay, you do this that was wrong, but hey, you also do this, and this that you do right. So don't feel bad of yourself. This is a mistake, and just don't do it again. Learn from your mistakes. So, well, it's bad if somebody comes and tell you, hey, it was bad, you know. And I used to have a chef that comes and it was bad, and then that was bad, man. And during the whole day, that was bad that you do, man. And then 5 minutes later, that was bad. Are you kidding me? I understand that the first time that I was bad what I did. You don't have to tell me 10 times in a day that the mistake that
What
you
you
made.
did, yeah.
So one time it says, this is, so make a professional approach when you have to deal with criticism, guy. So when you have to deal with criticism, that's the point that you have to be more professional. So you don't come with the friend things, like the brother to brother, big brother, small brother. Hey, come, let me do. No. You have to be professional, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people think that you treat everyone equally, because also there's other people watching. Don't you think, Jeff?
Oh, everybody's watching, for sure. At any point, everybody's watching and listening.
Especially in the kitchens, because there's no way to hide.
That is so true.
And sometimes when we, this is true, guys. In the kitchen, sometimes when we want to criticize and there's no time to we get the person and we get inside of the coolers, isn't it, Chef?
Yep, into the cooler.
Inside of the cooler. So you get the person, get it in the cooler, and give that criticism inside of the cooler in a way that is private, so not other people
Can
hear
it.
And don't make that person feel bad in front of others. So you get that and do it in front of that no matter what. So that's something that you will see in common when you get into the kitchen. Is a common practice to the chefs. Get inside on there and get the person, get to the cooler, and let's get in the cooler and talk. Isn't that true? Did you put somebody in the cooler, Chef?
The cooler, of course. I will take people into the walk-in cooler and talk to them, for sure. Because it's a place where you're not degrading or belittling them in front of their peers, or you need to be aware of that, and and that's a great place because it's easy, it's quick, and you can go in and then we leave and everything's good.
One thing, when criticism is personal, guys, don't make public criticism. Public criticism is not good, isn't it? When you took back and trash people in front of others, that is a very bad behavior. You don't want to do that. If you want to criticize somebody, it has to be in private. It has to be a personal thing, one-to-one. You don't want to go do in public and personal. So if there's a mistake, don't blow yourself and start, complaining in the middle of others that something happened to a person, because that will create a bad effect, and motivate people. And I think when they know that you are treating people with respect and there is a mistake, they will also learn from your criticism, isn't it, Chef?
Yes, and first of all, that's what I want to make sure is I tell my employees or anybody, if any criticism, I want you to learn from your mistakes, right? I don't want you to redo that same mistake. So, make sure you learn from your mistakes, for sure.
Another thing in the kitchens, guys, you have to be brief, isn't it, Chef? You cannot sit and start criticize a person that take 15, 20 minutes, because we don't have that kind of time in the kitchens.
Everything's at the moment. Everything is at the moment.
And it has to be short. You cannot brief a person for 20 minutes, That will be bad. Take the time of the kitchen of a person cannot have that time to do it. Why? It's so tight, the timing in the kitchen, guys. It's so tight. Always in kitchens, there's busy, there's sense of urgency. Always. Any kitchen that you're going to be working, there's a sense of urgency. Have you ever worked in a kitchen that there's no urgency, Chef?
No. I've worked with some people that have no sense of urgency, but yeah.
So be sure, when you have to talk to somebody and criticize, that criticize has effective, it has to be fast, get to the point, be professional. Don't take too long because we need that person working. And then you have also to be working. The brief has to be clear instructions, clear explanations, and good attitude in the middle. Very, very, very professional. One thing that we try to do in the kitchen is what we call encourage repetition. Guys, and this is something that you're gonna learn today here, but when you're gonna get in the next flow to the kitchen, I want you guys to already make the chef understand that you received the message from me and from Chef Dickerson, okay? So when you get to work in the laboratories, you already know this kind of thing, encourage repetition communication that we have in the kitchen. This is something that is true, and this is the way that we communicate with things. When I say something, the person who I direct communicate that has to repeat the message. That's the only way that I know that that person really hear the message. It's not true yet. As example, I'm walking with something hot and I say hot. The person who is in front of me, what's he gonna say? Hurt, hot. So now I know that the person hears, isn't it? So that's how we do, isn't it? So I say, yes. Hey, we have, so I says as example, fire out the dish. The person who has to fire out, it's gonna says, yes, chef, fire out. So that is how we do it. So can you do more examples of this repetition, chef, that we do in the kitchen?
Like when we just want to hear a response, like that you heard it, like order, fire, pickup. So if I say ordering 2 lamb shanks with risotto, and then the person, whoever is running that station, would say ordering 2 lamb shanks with risotto, chef, and you get that callback, or like to acknowledge that you have heard me. Yes. And you heard the order correctly. Any of that acknowledgement, like if I was working the grill, I need 5 medium rare steaks, 2, and then I would, as the person working the station, I would recall out that order just so that the chef knows that I understand it and that it was clear and clear to them on what they need to do. But just having a response, because no response should not ever happen. Some response, something you have to respond by. Heard, chef, you'll hear this a lot. Heard, or all sorts of responses. But just communication in a kitchen is very, very important, especially with someone with a knife behind them. If I'm walking behind you with a knife, I say knife behind you, and I want you to hear, or I want to hear from you is heard, or yes, no problem, or something, so you know that I have got a knife right behind you, so don't stop or I'm going to shank you, type of deal.
Yes. So guys, that's a system of repetition. We call it a system of repetition in the kitchen. That's a professional way to do it. So if I'm on your back and says, I'm on your back, and the person who says, yes, chef, you're my back. Yes, I know that person understands that, I'm carrying something, I'm in the back. It's, careful, hot, careful, hot. Yes, chef, hot. No, don't worry. There you are. I understand that person really, really received the message. And that's how we deliver message in the kitchen with the system of repetition, guys. So there's my point. When you get into the kitchen on the next vlog and the chef is going to say, line up, what are you going to answer?
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef, line up.
Heard, chef.
Or heard, yes, chef, line up. If the chef says, guys, you have 5 minutes to present dishes, What are you gonna say?
Heard, 5 minutes present.
Yes,
There you
that's how
go.
you know. There you go. So in chef immediately know that you received that message. So when you get this time, next block to the laboratory, if you have to work in the laboratory and the chef is going to deliver a message, you have to use the system of repetition to be sure that you understand. And if the chef go for first time and you start telling things and you the system of repetition, he or she will be so proud that you understand how we work in the kitchen, guys. I hope you do it.
Heard, chef.
So again, same as happened on the front of the house, on the back of the house is the same. No matter who, the dishwasher, you know, the person who is doing the pots and pans, the person who cleans the kitchen at the end, the line cooks, the apprentice, the sous chef, no matter who, there is an open communication line in the kitchen. Everybody should be free to talk, no matter what. Make sense? So you need to make them feel that everybody is important and everybody's opinions is very important and well received in this kind of environment. You cannot say I cannot hear you right now. I'm busy. That will be very bad, isn't it? If you're busy, you know, somebody, sir, you can take 10 minutes. You can take 10 seconds. You can take some time to stop and say, hey, I'm hearing you and you're important to me. You can say, hey, let's discuss that in private, isn't it? You can say things like that. Hey, that's amazing what you're telling me. Tell me more. Or if you have to be sure, it says, that's good. What you're telling me is good. Why don't we take enough time to hear you what you're telling you, which is not in the time of right now, on the service time. Okay, person understand, you know. The message has to be well delivered because communication is everything. So, same thing that we talked yesterday, you know, a good leader show appreciation, isn't it? So you need to be sure that you show appreciation for the people who are doing the job, whatever it is the person, whatever that job it is. No matter how big or short the ball is, so important in the kitchens, you know. So say thank you, you know, costs nothing, isn't it? $0, Jeff. Say thank you costs $0, isn't it?
That's correct. Thank you goes a long way.
So every day, team finish, you see the chef saying thank you to everybody, you know. It's like the circus is over. We close the theater and we say thank you to all the actors, you know. Hey, it was amazing. Thank you so much. And everybody has to feel that feeling of morale, you know. You can have to call the person who's doing a standing job and say, hey, you're doing a standing job. Thank you so much, you know. It's amazing what you're doing, how you're supporting the company, how you're doing that. What can I do for you to do and make it better? So, one more thing, guys. There's a lot of mistakes. There's always mistakes. There's no perfect system, isn't it, Chef? There's no perfect system. There's no perfection, isn't it? So, some point, there's gonna be mistakes. There's gonna be misunderstandings, you know? So, we as cooks, we have to be prepared for that, you know? Something's gonna be wrong. Yes, something is gonna be wrong. So, if there's a problem, what are we gonna do? Now that we know because we already talked, if we have a problem, what do we have to do?
Communicate it.
Yes, so communicate the problem. We have a problem. Then identify the problem, isn't it? And then fix it. Fix it. That is something that we do it. We learn and we do it. So what we don't want to do is, if there's a mistake, get the person, like degrade in public, say you're doing this, blame for something that maybe is not even the fault, isn't it? Blaming publicly because of what they do, that would be very frustrating, isn't it? Punish the person in public, that would be even worse, isn't it? So mistakes are done, but there's some mistakes that has to be put in categories, Like if you commit a mistake that is about trust, you're gonna be in trouble, isn't it? Let's see. You take food home and they catch you. That's a mistake, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How big of a deal is that mistake? What do you think?
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a real big deal because I know for sure in my job they put grazing. It's up to the green sheets, your write-ups, and then it's up to termination.
Yes, so it can be up to termination. So, but before it gets it, so when you get it as a chef, if you know that before you go and terminate the guy, I will sit with the guy. In that case, I will be, I will use always. Trinity says, don't give up with people, isn't it? Yep. Try to understand what this person do this, why he break the trust, what was the problem? Maybe the comment says, this is the problem, my children are this happened and this is a big problem, and you discover that the guy has an external problem in his life, and he feel obligated to do that. And commit that. So in that case, probably you have to go to the different approach and say, you couldn't go and say that and take it, but you could talk to me and I will help you and get to the point. But it's a big deal because if everybody knows that you took things out of for yourself and you're still working, that's a bad example, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So I work in an environment, let me tell you this. I learned this in a good way. I work in third world countries, a lot of poor people, poor. And I run in this club for the richest of the richest, and it was amazing. So this guy says that I have a married, but I don't want anything by here. Take a plane like this, It's gonna take my plane. I'm gonna take it to Miami, and you're gonna get everything that I needed over there. This is open budget, and I go, get the plane, go there, get all the things that we needed, and cheeses and things and everything from the world and caviar and all these things, and we return and cook, and then I discovered that the people who's cooking and all that, they are living in these, bamboo houses and in these confined places. And it was like, that's not okay, isn't it? And one person one day took money from the cashier, and the guy says, you have to go with the police, and I want you to break the door of the houses and take her in public and humiliate it and take it to, with the police. And I'm not gonna do that. Maybe you want to do, I'm not gonna do that. So I went and I opened the door, and not kidding, Chef, I saw, hammocks?
Yes.
There was like 8 or 10 hammocks inside of the house, with people living in hammocks and this poverty. And I was looking at that and I said, that is not okay.
Yeah, that's not.
So at the end, we finished, building a whole neighborhood for the employees of the club, so they can have, really nice houses with the support of the people. And what do we use? Just to make them signs, make them do the speeches, you know, and we do the whole work to make the people make it better. And they stop doing, and all these things of taking food and these things stop because people think that, you know, we really change their lives. And when we really change their lives, we know that completely the sensation of the people change. They really love to work in that place, you know. And they were, you know, my bosses are amazing, you know, they give me a house and they don't even put the money for the house, you know. We go and talk to the terrains that the municipality of the house give it for free, and we talk, and, you know, they have this machinery and they put to clean, and we talk, you know, with the government, and they get funds to build the houses, and they have to just use the influence to do all that. So it was amazing. But
That's
at the
amazing.
end, that was a big thing to change. So sometimes big problems, they are symptoms, you know, big mistakes, they are symptoms of big problems that happen with employees. So you have to put attention to that. And go 100% with Trinity. Don't give up on people. There is something that happened with them, and you have to be very sure that who are you working with. So when you understand mistake of people's, we call compassion, isn't it? We call compassion. You need to have compassion if you have a position of power over other people. You need to have compassion, guys. You need to be able to put in other people's shoes if you want to do that. That's kind of an obligation if you have a position of power. What do you think, Chief?
Oh, for sure, that's a position of power.
Yes. Another thing, you know, respect. We talk a lot of this, but respect is one of the things that are very important. Respect within colleagues, you know, respect with the team. Use the right communication tools that people really think that you really respect them, isn't it? No matter what.
Respect goes a long way.
Yes. So before you lose your coolness, you know, be sure that you don't cross the line of disrespecting people, you know. You want to be sure that no matter what happened, you have to keep cool. You have to, don't lose your temper. You just count, get inside to the cooler, you know, chill yourself, and then return with a good answer, with a good conversation, which is something that has to be, you know, respectful and constructive. Don't lose your temper.
Because when you lose your temper, you've lost control.
Yes, that's for sure, Jeff. So let's show you something at the end. Okay. Let me connect it with us. So, guys, as I talked to you before, guys, I'm going to put 2 examples of how we handle internal communications, okay? So that's something that is very important inside of the kitchen. We want to work in these modern times. You know, just verbal communication is not enough when we work in the kitchens and the restaurants, you know. we want to be right in communications, but we want to establish in a proper way that is professional, and we don't be afraid that we're gonna lose confidentiality with people. And you want to be sure that the information that you are running in the system is information that's going to keep in the system of the company and is not going to get out. So I'm going to put 2 examples today. Can you see it?
Yes.
Effective communication can often get lost in the hustle and bustle of operations. However,
okay, there you are.
Hi there, this is Anna from 7 Shifts. In a fast-paced restaurant workplace, effective communication can often get lost in the hustle and bustle of operations. However, team communication is not something that should be overlooked. A 2014 survey from About.com found that the top 3 reasons why people do not like their jobs were communications related. When communication breaks down is when orders can get mixed up, shifts can end up being no-shows, and inventory orders can be missed. If you work in a restaurant yourself, you've probably already experienced one or more of these things firsthand. In order to keep restaurants running smoothly and to work as an efficient team, these are a few tips that can help you keep your restaurant connected and in sync to enable managers and staff to communicate clearly from anywhere.
Number 1, use a work-specific medium. Your employees don't want to join another Facebook group to receive updates from work. With Facebook's endless digital feed noise, it's difficult for important work details to cut through. Plus, managing Facebook groups can present another challenge. For example, you may run the risk of having an employee leave the restaurant but still remain within the group. It's also possible that your employees will not want to share their personal social media accounts with everyone they work with. Luckily, another option exists. Work-specific employee communication tools are a new solution impacting more than just restaurants. Platforms like Slack are overtaking offices everywhere thanks to work-specific communications conducted over an immediate chat-style interface. Software options like this are great for both business owners and employees and will drastically improve productivity. By using restaurant scheduling software like 7 Shifts that offers in-app chat functions, you'll have access to work-specific communication channels for employee group chats and one-on-one conversations. These will send announcements to keep the entire team up to speed. You'll be able to easily control who's in the group, monitor any instances of abuse, and send important messages to your employees' smartphones, all while their personal information remains privately and securely stored within the app. Number 2, avoid miscommunication. It's always a good idea to set ground rules within your communication tools, as text-only methods can be misconstrued. To avoid miscommunication mishaps, Harvard Business Review recommends that employees envision the message's recipient actually receiving the message. It's the put yourself in someone else's shoes adage brought into the digital age. Before hitting send, employees should consider whether this is the type of message they'd be happy to receive, and only proceed if the answer is a confident yes. This is best practice for both digital and in-person communication. For example, a little extra detail can go a long way towards ensuring a message comes through as intended. When text-based messages arrive, they are devoid of the human emotion and social cues we depend on when speaking face-to-face. While a simple okay might be sent with the best intentions, a yeah, that sounds good, I'll be able to take that shift text would remove ambiguity and be more helpful than a vague reply. Number 3, set expectations. Millennials prefer texts as their primary mode of communication due to the speed of use. According to OpenMarket, 83% of millennials open messages within 90 seconds of receiving them. But not everyone is the average millennial. Some people read and reply when they are available and not immediately. A good guideline is to ask that employees respond to each other promptly, even if only to say that they'll respond in detail later. When dealing with time-sensitive interactions like shift swaps or sick day coverage, response time matters. Your employees should think about it if it was them looking to swap a shift or get information. How long would they want to be left waiting for a reply? Consider a standard turnaround time. For example, 4 to 6 hours or 1 business day, to give employees peace of mind that their message will be replied to.
Team communication is vitally important if you want your workforce to be happy and working as effectively as possible. Think about the ways you can use these tips in your restaurant. Once you implement them, you'll be amazed by how much everyone on your team will appreciate it. If you would like to learn more helpful how-tos, watch our other videos, or visit us at 7shifts.com. See you next time.
That's interesting. So we have these tools in front of us that we can use it, and we want to be sure that those things are used in a good way, so we can communicate perfect, and those messages are not lost in the middle of the rush, isn't it?
For sure.
This is the last one. Is related to the same thing. This is a top guy talking about this.
Are you tired of your managers walking?
Okay.
I didn't know. Like, I've been off for 2 days. I didn't know that was a change to the policy. I didn't know that's what you.
We're not seeing it, Chef.
Drives you nuts.
I'm trying to stop it. Chef.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna put it right now. Okay, can you see it, guys?
Yes.
There you are.
Looking at you in the eye and go, I didn't know. Like, I've been off for 2 days. I didn't know that was a change to the policy. I didn't know that's what you needed done. I didn't know that was broken. Drives you nuts. Sure, you might have a manager log in your office, and it's a piece of paper, it's a spiral notebook, it's a 3-ring binder. I don't care what it is. The fact of the matter is, I've been off for 2 days. I have no idea what's going on. How would you like to solve that problem and make sure everybody's on the same page? Get rid of the fact that I don't know. I'm gonna share that with you right now. Hello, this is David Scott Peters with therestaurantexpert.com, and I'm sure you understand the value of a manager log. Maybe you don't. Maybe you got that 3-ring binder and it become a bitch and moan session, right? People talk about, oh, you didn't get this side work done, and you guys are idiots, and oh, they're firing all this stuff. Hey, man, it's a legal document. All I want to know is business-related information. I want to communicate from one shift to the next, from one manager to another, what's going on in the business, and we're all on the same page. The challenge is, I've been off for 4 days in a row. I butt up 2 days off from last week and 2 days off this week. I got 4 days off together. And I walk in and there's a complete policy change and I'm looking like an idiot. Or I'm doing a procedure incorrect. Or the ladies' room is overflowing and I didn't bother to read the log when I opened up the restaurant, which means I'm in lunch rush and I got the ladies' room overflowing with crap on the floor. Are you tired of that? How about we solve that? And we need what's called an online manager log. But let's talk about manager log and why they're so important. Why? It allows us to communicate to everyone at all times. For instance, first, it allows us to hold our management team accountable. We can say, you knew, right? Everybody sees it on a day-to-day basis. Why? When you use an online restaurant manager log, I get an email every single night with all that information. So don't your managers have smartphones, right? I mean, they have smartphones. They get that email. They see what's happened on a day-to-day basis. I can hold you accountable to that. I make sure you're up to date on all the employees. If I had an employee issue, a fight, I had somebody who had a walk off, meaning they skipped the check and the employee was left with it, and I got a training issue and a disciplinary issue. Well, do I walk in and treat that employee differently because I didn't know? No, I know. I see it there. I have the ability to make sure critical repairs. Remember the ladies' room overflowing? Well, wouldn't it be nice that I actually know before I even get in the car to drive to the restaurant that there's an overflowing toilet, that you turned off the water and that's the only reason why it's not continuing to run? I can actually call the plumber before I leave my house, that by the time I get to work, there's the plumber. That's huge. How about new policies or procedures? We share them with it. No cell phone policy. I've been off for 4 days, but now it's no cell phones, including management. I don't care what it is, but we're on the same page. I want to make sure my team knows my important numbers. What was our labor cost last night? How about for the running total for the week? What is our purchases look like for the last few days? Where are our numbers? What are the sales looking like? How about we show them that on their email every single night? Now I know what's going on. I'm ahead of schedule, behind schedule. It fosters improved communication, meaning I make sure everybody uses a manager log to communicate. I don't want pithy little statements like yes, no, 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 yes. I don't want soliloquies, right? I just type a novel in there. Oh, this is what's going on. You got to teach them what you want. I want just enough information that I can do my job, that I've got the details, and I can be successful as a manager. And last but not least, it keeps everybody in the loop, right? There's no longer somebody says, I don't know, I've been off. If you want improved communication with your management team, everybody on the same page so that you're all going towards the same goal, you need a manager log, and it needs to be online. You can learn more about ours, which is Smart Systems Pro, handles every aspect of your business, but one of those online solutions is a manager log, and it can be life-changing. Now,
so guys, just want you to know, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
There is communication that we have in restaurants, just for restaurants, that you can handle all this information with privacy, and is handling just within the company. So it's related just with that. So when you receive a message, you know that it's important because it's a message from the system. So the system keep all that inside, and if you for some reason are not working anymore, you don't have any more chance to get in, and that internal information is amazing, and to get to the point that you can directly send information just for the people that you want, and so on and so on. So that is huge in this industry and save us a lot of mistakes. So I hope you learned today something, guys. What do you think of today's class?
It's good.
A lot of good information.
You like it? It was good? It helps you?
Yes.
Yes, Chef. It was great.
Thank you, Chef.
Oh, great, guys. So now we know, you know for sure what to do for Friday?
Yes, Chef.
Do we communicate it?
Chef.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or need anything, don't hesitate to call me or text me or email me. You know, it's not a problem.
Saying that, guys, this is the end of.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a great day.
I hope you enjoy it. See you tomorrow.
See you, Chef.
Bye, guys. Bye, Chef. Are you
Bye.
good? Do you need anything?
No, Chef, I'm good. See you tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Chef Dickerson, would you want me to still call you, or you want to talk on here when everybody's out?